Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Looks like we've got a few viewers in the chat. I hope everybody's excited that we're finally continuing with Bleach.
We've not forgotten Bleach. Never.
No, it was like in the back of our minds for months now.
Yeah. Yeah, studying abroad. Well, not studying abroad, just being abroad. And then it's like, okay, time to Bleach.
Yeah. Um. What? Oh, that entrance wasn't very sneaky.
No. no, just crashed in like a
No,
100
we
miles.
alerted everybody.
Yeah.
Um.
Just like they
Yeah.
did when they entered
Exactly. It's
the
perfect.
Soul thing.
Hey, we advertised it as sneak into Soul Society, but we're really just breaking in, and that's really what it is. So yeah. So actually, on that note, for this episode, I think you guys know already, but in case you don't, we are breaking it up into like maybe two streams. I think is all it's gonna take. So this stream, we
Yeah.
just want to focus on because we want to take our time with it. We're just gonna cover the sneak entry arc, which is like around like chapter 71 to like around I think 118 we stopped. We chose as a stopping point because it kind of we agreed it was a good stopping point. Um and we are probably going to rank characters. We do have a character ranking from last
Ooh,
time. I have it up.
we
Let me
do.
just put it up here. So this is our character ranking per the last stream. You can see here. Oh wow, and I have to fix the cameras on there. That's so
I liked
stupid.
it. I liked it though.
Our
But it's like
cameras are
we're
messed up. I have to fix that. But the character rankings
Oh,
are
that's
up.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You can just see our Discord here. Yeah. So we've got from the last stream. If you didn't catch it, at the end of the stream, we kind of ranked, like I guess our top five. Although I think Shaw gave like up to like six. So that's here.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
it was kind of easy because they have like the squad, and that was all we
yeah.
knew at that point.
Yeah. So we're probably gonna update this like at the end of this episode, like per how we're feeling.
Mhm.
If we have enough info, I think we should anyway, because it's gonna change again by the end of the Soul Society arc. And actually, while I'm talking, also in the meantime, while I'm fixing this, how are you guys doing? How's your week been?
Yep.
Talk
Is
to me.
everyone excited for Shadow of the Earth Tree Night? Because it comes out tonight at midnight. So it's a big day. This is good. It's like talk about Bleach and then play Shadow of the Earth Tree nonstop and then get back into Bleach.
That sounds fun. How long did it take you to read this arc of Bleach, Shaw? This part of the
Um,
arc, I guess.
I'd say like grand total maybe like 4 hours.
Okay, it's not bad. That was quick.
Okay. But yeah, it was fun. And I did try not to speed through it because I took a lot of screenshots because I had a lot of things to say, which I'm gonna keep referencing my phone almost because it's almost like I'm like, what if I'm like, oh, look, it's the picture, but um, no,
Yeah.
it was cool. It was interesting. It was cool and interesting because so many of these characters I have seen like in passing in certain places, but then others I've like never seen before.
That's pretty
So
cool. That like you've been there's just characters you just haven't seen this whole time.
yes, yeah. So I've been kind of like indoctrinated to them, um, indoctrinated to some characters and kind of knowing like I'm pretty sure some characters that I've seen around a lot are not gonna like go away, but then some characters since I don't know them, I'm like, oh, are they kind of like are they just fodder? Like are they just gonna be gone away? So it kind of makes it more intense in a way.
Yeah, that's pretty good because like you don't know at all. Like, I mean, except for like the most notable ones, you probably know like, hey, they're gonna be around still later on. But
Yeah,
for some of
yeah,
them, it's like, oh, I don't know their fate.
yeah,
In the
yeah.
meantime, chat, if you could do me a favor, hit us with your top five, I guess, from the first arc. Like, what do you like if you have a top five from the first arc without spoilers to this arc? If that makes sense. And then also any predictions you might have where you think we're gonna end up by the end of, I guess, this part of the arc.
My friend did like a prediction for my top five in One Piece, and a lot of people were taking bets on it, and that was fun to do. So I feel like it's fun to do, like predicting other people's favorites
Yeah.
for Bleach, but also seeing what their favorites are. Because as I saw when reading, there was like they had their initial popularity poll kind of based on like this part and this part of the story, and that was interesting to see.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think that's really fun, especially like it's gonna be a while before you get to One Piece, so that's interesting. It's good that you have that already done
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Yeah.
Um, but I think like you watched the live action, so you do have a good sense of.
I watched some of that.
Oh, you
Yeah.
didn't watch all of it? Okay.
Yeah, I think I will. I don't know why I stopped. There was no like reason for me stopping. I think I was just like I think I got caught up on something
It's
else,
actually a
but
pretty good entry
no, I like
point.
the one. Yeah, I like the live action One Piece. I think they did a good job.
All right, I gotta fix this a little more, but I'm not gonna waste more time on this. So let's just get back
Yeah.
into it. So okay,
Um
go ahead.
yeah. No, no, you go. How was your quick question on like how was it rereading? Because it's been a while.
Well, I was gonna hit you with that question too, but I guess you've already given me enough info. Rereading was a lot of fun. Like it went quick. Like you'd think like an arc that I already like have experienced and I already kind of know the general gist of what's gonna happen. Like I'd be like, okay, whatever, or like kind of just breezing through. But like I kind of like was turning the page as if like I hadn't read it before. Like I had that
Yeah.
feeling of like, yo, I gotta know what
That's a
happens
great
next.
feeling.
Yeah. And
That's,
especially with this arc. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And I wanted to ask you, before we get into like details or spoilers, which we should soon, what was your general, I guess, how did you feel reading it? Was it the same? Like, were you hyped? Were you just
yeah.
interested?
I was interested. So I think one of the first things I thought was like, okay, so we're like so the way we left off at the end of the last arc, it's like they're gonna go into the Soul Society and they have to go through the like super special like spiritual tunnel, and if they like use their power, then it could suck off up their soul or whatever. But they do that and then they end up in this area. And then I was kind of surprised that in my head, like the first, since we're calling this like sneaking or breaking into the Soul Society,
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting how like there is so much of kind of like a detour at the beginning of this arc of like, okay, try and go through the gate. That doesn't work. Now we have to find another way to sneak into this Soul Society through other means. And I have to look up the character's name. Um, but essentially, it's like the girl with the fireworks who only has one arm. I saw her.
Oh,
I,
Ikaku. No, sorry, not Ikaku. Damn, I messed up her name. But she's Shiba. She's Ganju's sister.
Ganju's sister. Yeah. Ganju is a character I have never seen before.
Oh, you never saw Ganju?
Like I've never
I'm
seen
not
Ganju.
surprised actually.
I've never seen Ganju, but I have seen Kukaku, and I think she has a really
Shiba.
cool design.
There you go. Kukaku Shiba.
Kukaku Shiba. She has like a great design, and I've seen her before, as you can imagine, like very like noticeable design, like very like sexy but tomboy at the same time. And it's like an interesting detail that she like has an amputated arm, so like very striking design. So I remember seeing her around, and I definitely mistook her for um Satsuki, the other tomboy,
Okay.
who was like I thought they were like the same character at some point, so it's kind of disappointing that like
Oh, okay. That's actually pretty.
she's probably
I could see that.
yeah, so she's probably like not going to be in the series as much because she doesn't have the super special powers, but like I kind of thought they were the same, and they kind of have a similar design, not exactly the same, but like similar
Like
tomboy
she
aesthetic.
looks like she would be like an older, maybe like war torn, version of the other one.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
what's her name? Tatsuki. Tatsuki
Yes.
is like younger Furiosa, and then Kukaku is older Furiosa from Fury Road.
Exactly.
Missing an arm.
Cinema reference. Uh, or as Al said, amputee mommy Tatsuki peak character design. Yeah, that's the vibe. So she has a really cool design. I've seen her a bit. So I've seen her. I've literally like I can honestly can say I feel like I've seen.
I'm gonna make a prediction. In case you were gonna say it, you have probably seen every female character in Bleach already.
I probably have in some
Just
capacity.
gonna say
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
I think they've all
Yeah,
probably been
definitely.
represented.
Yes, I think so. I've seen them in many times on the timeline. But I have seen like a decent amount of the male characters. Like I've seen like as a good example of like what's behind us with like the Soul Society with the captains. Like I've definitely seen the majority of them in some capacity, like either in passing. I
Yeah.
have never seen Ganju ever, like ever, and that's so funny. So I was like, this dude is definitely like not going to play a big role. Like he's not going to do much, whatever. And like he's been pretty active so far, definitely more than I thought he would be based on how much I've seen him. So poor dude, he he is not getting any love in the fandom. I don't think he's a
He
fan
doesn't
favorite.
have the character design like the other ones. Um,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
not that it's bad, but it's like everybody, kind of clearly looks like really badass.
yeah, yeah. There's levels to badassery because it's like naturally you think
We
like
should do a
good character
ranking.
design means we will have to do a separate
A
one. I think
badass
like
like
characters
ranking. Yeah.
badass, yeah.
Um,
Because like obviously you can see from the designs that we see in for the captains, like there's attractive characters and then there's like just pure badass and then there's like spooky looking. Like
yeah.
there's a wide variety of good designs. And I guess Ganju just has nothing. He has like
How,
no designs, which
that's a
is
good way of
tough.
putting it. Yeah, it's pretty kind of
Yeah,
plain. Um,
he
uh,
has no aura, as the kids would say. He has
actually,
no aura.
no aura. Actually, I meant to ask on that. Did had you seen what's his name? Is his name Hanataro before the guy that the fourth squad guy that accompanies Ganju and
Yes,
Ichigo at some point?
I have seen him in passing. I've not seen a lot of him, but he looked semi-familiar. But he also has such a generic
Yeah,
design that like
yeah.
it could have been anyone. So
So
no, I wasn't like, oh yeah, that's the guy when I
yeah.
saw him, but I was like, yeah, he looks familiar enough.
So already calling it Ganju is not top five for you.
It's gonna, he doesn't actually have a bad character. It actually has something interesting going on from what we've seen.
He
So
just doesn't have aura.
for context for where we left off, I don't know if we told everyone. So we left off at chapter 118. That is right
Yes.
after um Ichigo challenges Bakuya again, and then um what is her name?
Radman's like, you've seen Hanataro and not Ganju?
Yeah,
Tears.
exactly.
Tears.
Exactly. I've seen Hanataro, not Ganju. It's
um,
exactly. So Yurichi. Is
well,
that am
okay,
I saying that
before
correct?
we get there, actually.
Well, I just want to let them know so
Okay, okay,
before where we're
gotcha.
cutting off. Yeah. So we cut off with Yoriichi like taking Ichigo who's like messed up and he's like, okay, in 3 days he'll be strong enough to beat you. So that's where we cut off.
Yeah,
So for
the
context, like
mini
he's
training arc.
we're gonna have a mini training arc as I can see.
Yeah,
Um
because she's gonna like train him, and then obviously he's gonna get more powerful, and that's like his second power up in a short time.
yes.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll
But we can go
talk
back
about
to the
that.
start now that we people know where we started and ended. So
Yeah.
this it yeah.
So I actually meant to ask you, now that we're talking about all these characters, I guess we'll start there unless you want to start somewhere else. How do you feel with the introduction of so many new stuff, but mainly characters, but also world building, just all this stuff coming at you?
It's definitely a lot all at once. It's a lot like thrown at you. I'd say so it's like definitely good and bad. So I think the interesting part of the world building is that I'm just gonna call the Soul Society, is that the area they're called? It's like
Yeah.
the area they're in is like the Soul Society. I guess that's what the world is called. So like that area is very interesting. It feels very like traditional Japan spiritual, but it's also like it's interesting to learn that they have just like I'm guessing just like people, not like people, not like humans, but like spirit people who are just inhabiting this world. And then they have like the Reapers who take care of hollows and such. And then they have ranks to that. And then you have like the noble society and
Yeah.
then like the poor people. So it's kind of functioning like our human society, but it's in like a spiritual context. So I'm, so it's kind of like, I know, so I guess like Ganju and them, like he's like a person, but he's just like a spirit person. Is that
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
accurate? Okay.
Pretty
Okay,
much,
cool.
pretty much. I'll break it down as you die in real life to go live your second life as a spirit in this other world. But where you
Gotcha.
can
Oh, that makes
also
sense.
be bound by a feudal class system. You could also be poor and live a shitty life
Exactly.
in this second life.
Okay. I wonder if that's like some Buddhism inspiration for
I
that whole like
Yeah.
the whole system of like being reborn, but then like karma paying forward. Because I yeah, that's right. Because I forgot in one of the first chapters, it's like 72 or something. Chad runs into his Cherokee, the bird soul or
Yeah.
whatever. So that's yeah, that's a good point. So I forgot about that. So then it's like they have this like entire class system in this spirit society. I guess that makes sense. So I kind of just will think of it as like re reincarnated into this soul society, and then you have
Where you can also still die, and then if you die in Soul Society, you just like you're out of existence.
so then you're like out of the entire cycle of existence. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's what they're threatening. That's what they're gonna say will happen to Rukia.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like
Okay,
gone.
gotcha. Okay, she's done so. Okay, that makes sense. So that was interesting at first, and I don't think that is too complicated. It seems like pretty straightforward in the context of just like, okay, this is new, new society, but they still have their issues to deal with. I do think it's a lot to be like, okay, we have 13 is I think it's 13 different groups of like what am I thinking of? Units, departments, like why can't I think of the word?
Yeah, 13 different like divisions.
Divisions. There, yeah,
Divisions.
divisions. That's a lot because in my head I'm like, okay, I'll just keep track of like the head guy, the captain, and the assistant captain because that really seems like where the most notable designs and the most powerful people are. But then when like Ichigo starts fighting, yeah, 13 squads, thanks.
Squads,
But
yeah.
then Ichigo just starts fighting like a random dude. I want to be like, dude, like we don't really have time for your existence. Like we gotta get this. You gotta start fighting the big boys. We don't have time for this. I'm
Yeah.
not learning who you are. And I do think we have possibly one of the worst designs ever with the eyelash guy.
Mayuri?
No, I think so. Yeah, I didn't send it Discord, but yeah, he has an abysmal
He's
design.
on here. He's like behind the chat box on the screen.
No, he wasn't a captain or anything.
No? Oh wait. Oh,
No,
oh,
he's
oh, Yumichika Hayasagawa, who is in the 11th company, and he thinks he's beautiful, and like
Yumichi. Yes,
and he's
yes, that
fighting
guy.
Ganju. Yeah, okay, that's what you're talking
Yes,
about.
yes, that guy. Yeah, he looks very ass. The eyelashes are so weird. So his design is bad, but I was like, I could definitely like tell who everyone was, and I think something that does definitely work to the benefit of the series is having so many unique and distinguished designs. Like everyone looks very different from each other,
Yeah,
and everyone is very noteworthy. So like you see someone once, you already have a good sense of their identity.
yeah,
So it's like everyone pretty much only needs one introduction to matter. It's just a lot of introductions, but
yeah.
um,
I think that this arc, and maybe I'm speaking like because I know like kind of what happens later, so maybe it's like
mhm.
it's different from like when you're reading for the first time. But I think like in hindsight, like it does like really great. I don't know. I feel like it is throwing a lot at you, but it doesn't feel like you have to focus on all of it. It feels like
Yeah,
it's showing you just enough while keeping the momentum going. So it's like while they're on the run, while they're on the go, you're getting all these details that you kind of need at the moment, subtly like gradually expanding the world. But it also makes it feel like you don't really need to know this other thing that much right now
yes,
because it'll just
yeah,
focus on it later. Like how you got like hints of like um, the actual captains like and their personalities like early on, but it didn't
hmm
really formally introduce them. It
yeah,
kind of just breezed by them because it was like you don't really need to
yep,
know that. But for now, you
yeah,
know.
definitely. And we got such a good like characters left such a strong impression like from the get-go. Like obviously I know that you look up like Jin is going to be a huge character. I've seen him around everywhere, but he leaves a strong impression like from the get-go with his like I guess it's like a fox smile. He has like
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
everyone knows who he is. But he leaves such a strong impression, and it's interesting to kind of introduce that sense of conflict in the captain's group already from like the way he didn't kill Ichigo and everyone from the get-go, and it makes him feel super sketchy and like he's hiding a lot. Like you're not really sure what his intentions are. It doesn't seem like he's on the same page as a lot of the different a lot of the other different captains. So already establishing a sense of like individuality and differences among everyone. So they're not like a unified group, which is like a big talking point. Which not a talking point, but it's a big interesting theory because our introduction to the Reapers was them all like uniformly agreeing that like Rukia has to be held captive and seemingly everyone's behind her getting like imprisoned and killed and stuff. And we also see Ganju's issue with the Soul Reapers, who he thinks are like all evil people because they killed his brother. So like seeing that sense of individuality from the pretty much the first introduction does a good job of showing how like there's a lot more going on than what meets the eye. There's like the possible like political conspiracies. There's a lot of sneaky going on, like who trusts who. Like even, you know, some people just like not even getting along with different squads are like the squads on the same page. It's very interesting, like so far.
Yeah, there's like history there, but you're getting bits and pieces of it. There's like obviously like a subplot going on with the conspiracy, and it's not from the invaders, and it's like you're trying to like it makes it really interesting to follow because it's like, okay, what's unfolding here while these guys are breaking in to try to save Rukia, and then there's more than meets the eye. So, like you said, yeah. I think I guess since like we touched on it, what were your reactions then to the like the twists and turns? Like, I think I can't think of another one before this one. I think this is the biggest one for that first part, which is Aizen's death.
Yeah, so Aizen is one of those characters that like obviously I know more than I should at this point. I know that he is like one of the major villains of the series, like spoilers to only me because everyone else knows. So I already know that like we're going to see Aizen again. But for the sake of this arc, it's a huge twist because it seems like Aizen is like, you know, this really caring, compassionate guy. Like he stands up for Renji. He doesn't think that Rukia should be killed. Like he's really nice to his assistant captain. Like he has such a good like seemingly good moral character. So seeing him killed and then that leading to the like disarray of so many of the different groups, like everyone like immediately suspecting Jin. Toshiro is like seemingly, you know, trying to find justice. Like he's like a good, you know, neutral good guy spot. So like he's in an interesting spot. Just very interesting setup for everyone moving forward, especially knowing that like what I know is that like this isn't even the end of the twists. Like we're gonna see like infinitely more twists with Aizen. So
Yeah.
that was really cool to see.
So when you got to that panel, just seeing him like just kind of crucified, you just were
Crucified,
like,
yeah.
yeah, we know this isn't it. You know, like we know.
I will say if I was reading this the first time and didn't know anything, I would be like, wow, that's like pretty. I'd be like, yeah, wow, that's like pretty cool. That's a big twist. I wouldn't expect them to kill someone off like this. And like, are they trying to frame Ichigo? Is this all part of like a political scheme? Because people have like different, you know, conflicts with their society, a lot of different things going on. Like, why would they go after Aizen? Like, what is he working on behind the scenes? Because he's seemingly not as important as some of the other guys or the other players.
Yeah.
In the real time, like he doesn't really stand out that much. Like he has,
you know, he's like a nice guy.
Yeah, he's like a nice guy in the background. So
nice facade.
No real. Yeah.
Wait, so actually about that, because you already know a lot about it. So do you like fully know like kind of everything that kind of happens with him like regarding that or not enough yet?
I know a few. Like, let me try and think what I know. Also funny to note, he got stabbed in chapter 100. That's kind of a great 100 chapter milestone. Like if we look at like how many it would be interesting to look at like series that are more than 100 chapters and see what they all did for their first 100 chapters.
That'd be cool.
That would be kind of cool.
Chapter 100.
Yeah.
Ranking.
Yeah. That would
Everything's a ranking.
Who has the best? Who has the best chapter 100? That would be sick. So I know that Aizen is a bad guy, but I think his shtick is that he's like against the Soul Society. That's what I think it is. So I presume he'll show up again at some point, and then he'll be like, just kidding, fuck y'all, and then turn on Soul Society. But I don't think he's going to be like working with Ichigo and stuff. Like, I don't think
Okay.
he's going to be working with those guys. I guess this counts as my prediction. But knowing how like iconic all of these captain designs are, I feel like they're going to become like various degrees of like allies or like temporary antagonists. Like, I don't think most of these people will end up dying because I know that they're going to like be showing up throughout the series. So that's kind of like, that's not like me being spoiled on anything specific to Bleach, but just me kind of taking a shot in the dark because I know how long-running series work. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen them around enough. They've been in enough openings. They've been around, so like it makes sense.
I think the fact that you already know that he's going to be bad and he's going to come back kind of like
Yes.
kills that part. Not kills it, but like, I can't ask you to be like, hey, what are your predictions? What's your speculation? Because you have a good sense of it. So
Yeah. And it's not like I know what's going to happen in every other arc or anything. I just know that like we're going to see Aizen again, and I know that he's going to pull off a big betrayal. And that doesn't make it any less good of a twist because just because I know what happens.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be really exciting to get to that point, especially because if I was like reading this first time, no context, I'd be like, yeah, he's just dead. I wouldn't suspect anything otherwise.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, so he's gone. We'll see. What else is everyone going to do? Because kind of like, as you said, like they introduce so many of these characters that you're not really paying attention to what might be going on in the background, such as like whatever Aizen is presumably doing, because we're so focused on like Ichigo fighting Kenji and then Kenpachi. Like we're focused on that because there's so much like high octane action because the situation is dire. So like kind of having our focus spread elsewhere works really well for what I presume will be like the subplot going on underneath the surface.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think there's still a lot going on that doesn't really ruin everything. It just makes it unfolding all the more interesting because you got
definitely
all these different factors.
Yeah, I think something that hit me when I was reading through this was I don't know how many chapters it was. It wasn't even that many chapters in the long run, but I was thinking the way we had like we got through the Soul Society, we had the like gate arc, not the gate arc, but where they try and go through the gate and it's like you shall not pass, Dunzo. And then they're like, okay, we got to go meet someone else who will get us in, and then we'll kaput in. Like, I was thinking about it in terms of like modern manga. I feel like that arc would like straight up just not exist if it was like a modern series. Like that's one of those things where I'm like, this works in knowing that Bleach is such a long series and knowing that it was published in like early 2000s. I'm sure this is still considered fast pacing, but it's one of those things that I feel like if it was a series that came out today that was also going for fast pacing, we would just not have that mini arc of like them training how to use the giant balls and like going forward. That would be like 1 or 2 chapters.
Yeah.
And that was something that felt very, I'm not saying it felt aged or something. It just felt different. Like I could tell that was definitely a product of like early 2000s manga, not something that would be in like a 2020 manga.
That makes sense. It's a good observation. I didn't think of it that way, but I could definitely see that because like I think I think Bleach really starts like kind of evolving and coming into its own like after that first arc. Like that first arc laid, as we said like before, a really good foundation. But I think like the pace does ramp up in Soul Society, but that first part feels more in line with the pacing we got in that first arc. It's like still kind of there, where it took a little bit more of its time. But once it gets going, I think this arc just doesn't have any other moment like that.
And I'm not saying it's definitely not saying it's slow because it also introduced a lot of like important things for us, like the idea of like controlling the spirit energy is like a source, and then like Ganju, despite me shitting on him and never seeing him and all of it, I think he does have an interesting like conflict with the Soul Reapers that I think makes it worthwhile that they explored that, especially because it was revealed by the end of what we got to that like Rukia was the one who killed his brother, which I know there's definitely going to be a lot more involved in that, but like that's a huge twist. I should have seen that coming, that would throw a wrench into it, but that's like a pretty big twist. That
Oh, that was the next twist I was going to ask you about. Did you know
sorry,
about
I
that? No,
jumped the
no,
gun.
no, no, no worries.
I had no idea because I didn't know
So
who
you had no
Ganju was,
idea.
so I
How
had no
did you
idea. So that was a
feel
huge
about
surprise.
like getting to that panel? I think I have it up. Hold on, let me see if I can get to it.
We had the Eisen crucifixion up, but
This crazy. I think I have it. Oops, skipped. Maybe I don't have it up. The panel where like pretty much Ganju walks in and like there's no words.
yeah,
And he just like is staring just like daggers at Rukia and it's like, yo, why?
I was
like,
when
yeah.
when I saw that, I was like, oh no, it's gonna be her. That makes sense. And I'm like, okay. Then when he revealed it, it's like, I should have seen that coming. It couldn't be this easy to get her out. And that's like so interesting because they give you little hints here and there that like Ganju's older brother was like still loved Soul Reapers. He didn't hold any remorse. He seemed like okay with passing on to the next life, soul or not, I
Yeah.
guess, so to speak. So it seems like his older brother has no animosity for Rukia, but obviously he would because she killed his brother. So, and that's his main thing is like revenge for his brother. So I think it's very interesting because we already have the seeds of like them revealing the full story, and like it's probably going to cast Rukia in a more sympathetic light. That's also probably emotionally conflicting for her because she seems to feel guilty about it, or at least like she fully acknowledges what she did, and she's like, you know what, if you want to, you know, she takes full accountability and responsibility for her actions. So I could see that leading to like another interesting um character moment for her, especially later down. So I see the seeds.
What makes you think that and maybe you mentioned it already that her brother holds sorry, his brother holds no animosity to her and that it was all like good versus what Ganju thinks?
I think it was probably something like my prediction, the most straightforward prediction, um, like my most straightforward prediction is that his brother got into some crap and then he got into something kind of shady. But his brother probably worked with Rukia and they were very close because I think she mentions him in that chapter. I forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the brother's name, right? I think you scrolled past it at some
Oh,
point.
did I?
I'm not sure if that's his brother, the brother's name. I don't know because I don't even know if they
The
mentioned
brother's
it.
name is Kayan.
Yeah, so she mentions Kyan, so it's obviously someone that she knows very well and holds in high regard. Um, so she probably has like a positive,
Let's see.
dynamic with him, and he either probably did something that she felt like the only way to save him would be to kill
Oh,
him,
she says it
or
in this
he,
panel.
yeah, or yes, specifically thank the Soul Reaper who killed him. So I think that either she kind of like mercy killed him, or it was something involved where he got like very injured by other people and she mercy killed him, or like there was no other way, maybe like someone threatened his family unless he died and that's why she had to do him, it's like something like
That's a pretty good prediction. Yeah, that's pretty.
yeah.
Without
So
saying
I
it,
think it'll be
it's pretty. You
it's
got
gonna
it.
be
You got it.
something that will be sympathetic towards Rukia, that will be conflicting for her, but will also make sense why he thanked her and why he holds no animosity towards him, and which will also make Ganju eventually probably be understanding and not hold animosity towards her as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah. Side note: this is a really cool panel. This
this is dope, isn't it? This
of
Eisen one.
this one up on screen with Rukia.
Did you change it again?
I did.
Oh
It
yeah, I'm
hasn't
behind.
updated yet.
No, I'm behind.
It's where it says here she says Kayan, I think, for
Yes,
the first
kind.
time.
Yeah,
Um,
that's obviously it.
I love Kubo's use of like white space and negative space and
Yeah,
it's
I
really
wanted to.
his panel layouts are awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that for a second, but first I wanted to comment that like something I did notice, going back to Eisen for a second, that Alejandro brought up is a crazy note about Eisen is it's implied he slept with Momo the day before he died, and she's wearing a special nightgown that women wear after going to a man's house that the anime had to alter. That's really crazy, and I also thought that was like almost implied that they were
Oh
like
shit!
in the same room. Like,
I don't
is
think I
that
ever realized that. That
yeah?
explains a lot.
So like, is she like that's a kind of a weird thing because she's obviously supposed to look really young, but like she's obviously not young. Like she's thousands,
Yeah.
hundreds of years old. Are we getting another like 100-year-old Lolly situation?
I think so, but she doesn't seem like
Okay.
like Shinobu level. She
Yes.
just
Yeah.
yeah. from Monogatari, for anyone that
Yeah,
is wondering.
yeah. The
So
go-to.
she just looks young, but again, I don't know. I'm just like that's kind of crazy how like I didn't ever picked up on that just because I did watch the first time I watched the anime, so. And on
Yeah.
this read through, I just assumed, oh, it's the same stuff. So like, I kind of went through it. And I'm like,
Yes. Yeah.
but that makes so much sense for her reaction. Okay, I mean,
Because
like,
I think it's
it's
like,
clear that she's in love with him, but that like adds more.
yeah. Let me find the page because it's really one of those like. It feels very much like an implication if you pick up on it, but like if you don't pick up on it, then
Let me see
not.
if I can
Okay.
find the page.
Okay, I got it. It's in chapter 100, as you can see. So it's chapter 100, page 12, and then chapter specifically page 13.
Okay. Just,
And then the way,
yeah. Let me see if I can get it.
yeah. Okay.
Here's this. And then let me just like we can go through the chat a bit while I'm pulling this up.
Yes. So that's where, so it does imply. I think this panel, because I'm gonna say it's like, they were having a conversation. They were having like a conversation, and she's thinking like positive thoughts on him, but like just the entire like. They're in the room together. He's leaving. She's asleep. And then she wakes up expecting to find him.
Yeah.
That definitely feels like an implication of like, at least something more intimate than just a professional relationship. We can just put it that way.
Damn, Aizen's a sleazeball. Like, I mean, like, you kind of knew already, but like, damn, that's another level.
Kubo has addressed this in a Q&A and refuses to confirm one way or the other. Okay, so is this kind of like is this like a big Bleach like black box of like, do you or do you not believe in it? Like, what is for everyone in chat and like, and anyone who's finding later to comment what is the thoughts on this? Is this like a debated thing? Are some people like, yes, pro, like,
sorry,
yeah,
real
they
quick.
did it. No,
Chapter
they did
100, page 33?
13.
13. Hold on.
Do we have that many chapters in this? Pages in there?
Yeah,
chapter 100, page 13.
Okay, I think I found it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can also hold it up so we don't get copyrighted in any capacity, but it's like,
yeah, if you would please.
okay. So it's like you can tell with this, like if you look at this, you can tell it's double backwards because we have to read across, but it's like it's a bit, I don't know. We're gonna go over all the Bleach black boxes. Have we missed any other ones? I feel like we haven't, but this one is an interesting one.
Momo.
You could see this one working out really well because like obviously it's in like a children's weekly Shonen Jump. It's in a younger magazine, so like it's one of those things where like if you're older, like one of those like it's like an adult joke in SpongeBob or something.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Let me see. I think I got it up now. Hold on.
Yeah. Someone said, no, Alejandro brings up a great point. I think the fact that the anime had to change her clothes does imply they slept together or cements it. That's a really great point because it's like, if there's nothing to hide, why are they hiding it? That's a great point.
This might not be the exact panel, but I got this one up, which does show what she's wearing that night, so it's up on the screen. Maybe it hasn't loaded yet, but should be up momentarily. Yeah, because she's like talking with Aizen. He's leaving.
And like, yeah. And like, if they didn't want to implicate anything, they just have her like fall asleep sitting up or something, and he'd maybe like drape like a blanket over her. That's like the platonic version, I think, of how this scene normally goes.
Crazy.
Crazy. So that's gonna be even crazier when I learn more shit later on.
Yeah.
But I did have the thought, so I'm very glad. Alejandro, did you bring it up? Yeah. I'm glad you brought it up because I did kind of notice it, but I wasn't sure if I was just being like delusional. I was like, that's kind of something, but I'm glad that it's not just me. So this is very cool
Maybe
to
we
see.
should just do like a poll, after this.
did they
collect data? Did they?
Yeah.
Did they not?
Did they? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah. So that was really interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, no, I could see like why like in a Q&A like he officially wouldn't want to confirm it. It's a shonen, so it's like it's probably a little
Well, I
too
think at that point he likes the mystery of it, right? Like he
true. It's
obviously went
like
through such lengths to be vague about it,
yeah,
then like why would he want to confirm yes or no?
yeah,
But
because
I think
it's
in
really
the
just a small detail. You don't really need to know.
yeah,
You can speculate.
yeah.
Um, hmm. Was there anything else in the comments that someone brought up? I'm trying to see real quick. No, I guess that we were caught up.
No, we
Uh,
were in on it.
Actually, speaking of twists, how did you feel about? So we talked about Kayan, and your thoughts on that. How did you feel about the Yoruichi true form? Like it's
So
kind of
that's
like a
another one.
twist. Yeah.
Well, I was like, yeah, I get it's that was probably like a wild twist for anyone reading it. I've seen Yuriichi. Her design is like definitely one of the most iconic from Bleach, and definitely one I've seen, like one of the first ones I've seen probably. Definitely around. So I was kind of almost like, why are they calling the cat Mr. Yuriichi? Like, isn't she a girl? And then
Okay.
it's funny that they had that reveal, which is really funny because like back when I was like posting just as you because with my username shocking everyone thinks I'm a guy until I
Yeah.
reveal it. So one of my friends, like the first friends I made online, was saying called me Yuriichi, and because it was almost like the exact same dialogue she has
Oh.
where it's like, oh, everyone thinks I'm a guy because of my voice, but like
We should call
yeah,
you
whatever.
Mr. Shaw from now on.
Yeah, Yuriichi.
Yeah.
Yuriichi King. That would be kind of good. That goes kind of hard.
Yeah. That'd be
um
pretty cool.
so yeah, so I already knew about that, but now I'm very happy to see the full context
You,
of
you,
why
sh- you should
we
make
have
your
so much in common
you should make
already.
your avatar for a week. Just the
Yes.
cat form of Yoruichi.
Yes, that would be great. Yeah, and it's a great design both as a cat, um, and as like a full-grown human spirit thing. So she is a great design. I've seen it everywhere. Um, it's definitely one of the most iconic designs. Also, just really cool to show like, you know, something that is cool to call out already is that we have like multicultural designs just casually included. Like I
Yeah.
think so far, like we have Chad who's from Mexico. We have I think one of the other captains is black, Yuriichi's black, and I feel like we have other. I'm not sure if we've seen anyone else who is like overtly designed to look like another race, but it's just really cool to see that just so like casually included. So, um,
Yeah, it's really
that's
cool.
a cool. That's cool. Like shout outs for that. Um, and I liked this. This is a small tangent. I'll go back,
Oh,
but I
and
do like how
Tosin, the captain. They haven't. I don't know if they've said his
yes,
name officially at this part, but
I think he got one introduction, and then he said how he doesn't like fighting right before
yeah,
going
that's
to
it. Yeah, it's a
yeah. So
fight.
which is cool. Yeah, that was cool. Um, but I like that small tangent. Actually, we can get to it later because I feel like the Chad should get his own section when we get to that.
Yeah,
But um, yeah, Yuriichi. I was waiting for like when was the design reveal gonna happen, and it was cool to see. It's like, oh, this is now a great time, and it like just shocks everyone. So
yeah,
she's been like a very badass force so far. It's cool to see that like I guess she was the lead of some like ninja. I'm guessing like a ninja group or like secret assassin squad, which is
yeah.
why she's so powerful.
And wasn't it so cool when she had the back and forth with Byakuya, like that history? Like
Yes.
he's like they make him out to be this badass guy, like with this aura, like he's beaten down Ichigo. Now he reveals his special maneuver, the thousand cherry blossoms, fucks up
Yeah.
Ganju, and it's like, what are they gonna do? And Yorichi's like, what's up, brat? And then
Yeah.
she's like,
And she does. They did
you're
the
not
same
faster
move
than
at each
me.
other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think
Oh,
I have that panel
uh,
actually. Hold on.
yeah, with the way he did the like I'm too quick,
Her,
and then she's like, just kidding, I'm too quick, and
well,
they
first of
did
all,
that
her
like in
entrance
succession.
was awesome, where she like wraps his
Yes.
sword. That was awesome.
Yes.
Um,
Sick.
and then after that, that whole scene we're talking about, that was pretty cool too. With the, I guess they call
Yeah,
it
that
Shumpo.
was
Yeah,
yeah because we got to like arguably I think yeah the way she wrapped this that was so cool. How does like Kubo, time to like talk about how cool Kubo's art is. Um, the way that Kubo deals with like dimensions and angles is sick. Like he captures the movement of things so well that makes the action flow in such a cool way
yeah,
while also like emphasizing the intensity and speed of action.
yeah.
Um, Like that's just so like how do you even draw her like like the way he
It's
had
like,
the panel before. Like
yeah,
she's like ahead of him, like as if she's already moved while we're doing a page flip. It's so cool.
yeah. It's just like I don't know, like the sense of geometry, like angling,
Yeah.
position. Like I think I kind of knew. I don't have it up, but there was like a cover, like one of the I think chapter 116 or one of the art for one of the covers had Ichigo like had like a pictures of the captains, and it had
Yeah.
like image of Ichigo like running past them like with his sword, and it was cool because it was in 2 pages, and I thought they were supposed to be like a spread like together, but then I was like, oh wait,
Yeah.
no, this makes sense. Like you see the back part of his sword is the captains he already ran past by, and now it's the
Oh,
ones he's heading towards. And maybe I'm reading into it too much, but I'm like, yo, this guy is like a master of layout. That's awesome.
yes. Yeah, I don't know if I saw that one. Or if I did,
If not, I could pull it up
let me know if
later.
you find it.
But it
Yeah.
was really cool. Yeah, he's like really good at
Yeah.
the layout, and that's like the one thing I
Um
think I mentioned. I just don't want to forget in the last pod was Bleach really holds up. Like the art holds up.
the
Like it
art
doesn't
is
look
insane.
dated. It looks like
No,
modern. Like
very clean.
yeah,
It's like it's very I don't know, it's very simple but like intricate. Like I wouldn't say some of the designs are very intricate, but like even just looking at the two designs now, it's like Yoruichi and Bakuya, like they have pretty like straightforward designs, but they have like accessories and little details that make them stand out. Like Bakuya's hair
yeah,
makes him stand out from the other black-haired, pointy-haired guys. So like there's enough like detail to make everyone stand out, but it also just looks like very clean and smooth. Like everything is just incredibly clean.
yeah.
So it's really crazy to see. And I think as I mentioned, like uh Owls mentioned, the Kenpachi fight felt really cinematic. First off, I have to give a shout out that to the fact that they dedicated an entire chapter to depicting Kenpachi's aura. They literally,
So
I counted.
yes, so I
They
wanted to get to
literally.
that. I'm pulling it up. That's
Sorry,
actually what I
I'm
have
jumped.
panels of. No, no, it's great.
I jumped
So
ahead.
it was pages and pages of this, starting with this one before you even get to like Kenpachi. They're just like running into his domain,
Yes.
and like
Yeah.
and it's expanded, and like you can just feel, and then
Yep.
it's just like the subtle like the suspense of like as they're getting closer, like his aura is just illustrated in more ways, like symbolizing death.
Yeah. Yeah, like the way that he like literally okay, yeah, so when they do that and then they start freaking out, they're like, "Oh my God." And the next one when it's like that one panel of like it feels like death is like at my neck and it just
I
feels like
have
the
that.
shadows.
It'll take a few seconds, but that's the next one I have
No,
up.
you got. Sorry, I'm jumping
No,
ahead.
no, you don't have
It,
to. I wish there wasn't a delay.
yeah, no, it's cool
We
because
are
this one
on
was
point.
crazy. The fact that we like went, I think I saved it too. I was like, "Oh my God, that's sick."
It should be up by now, but yeah, no, the
Yeah,
skeleton one that was very striking, and also like
yeah,
the what is it called? Like the use of black that like Kubo
yeah. Negative
uses.
space.
Yeah, negative space, and
Yeah,
also like the grays,
yeah.
like to just
The shading.
convey the intensity. Yeah, I sort of just said shading.
No, that's different. I think because it's like like the white and black is like negative
Like
space, but then
he
there's shade.
yeah, but he really makes his aura just feel like super intense. Do you see it up
Yeah,
on the screen now, or
yeah, yeah.
yeah?
I think
That
it did in real time. You know,
the one
yeah. So
I
you did good with
also
that.
like is this one too, where he's finally like getting close, and now he just literally feels his ominous presence like on his neck.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I think I had that one. I had that one saved because we're on the same wavelength. But I had like that one saved too, where I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's
are you
up.
kidding?
I
Yeah,
have that up.
I'm like, are you kidding? That's insane.
I was like trying to pick one, and then I just kept saving. Like, wait, next one,
Same.
next
Yeah.
one,
All I
next
look,
one.
and I have like 30 saved. Yeah, that was insane. Talking, and it's like I did count. It's literally an entire chapter dedicated to his aura and like his intense spiritual presence that scares everyone. Like an entire chapter.
Yeah,
So I think that is great. I think that's how you do it. That's how you make an intro, and that's how you do not necessarily power scaling, but just like how you present the difference in like I guess it is power. The
it
difference in
is, but
power and
yeah,
intelligence and intimidation and like just overall scale because that was the first time we got Ichigo really fighting. Well, second time if you count the Jin one, but like
it's like
Ichigo really fighting
yeah, it's like
a
both power
captain.
scale, but also power scaling, but also his personality at the same time. Like it
Yeah.
does both. It does both jobs at once. Especially like the next scene too, where like Ichigo feels like the sword just erupt out of him, and he's like,
Yes.
"What the fuck?" And then it's just like,
Yeah, yeah.
no,
He
that was
feels
just
like
his
he got
murderous
stabbed.
intent. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was sick.
And then Zaraki's like, "Yep."
Yeah. Um, so that was cool. I guess like just talk that I think that fight would probably be the main if there was one main event we got to
That's
for this bunch of
yeah.
chapters, that is like
That's the main
that's
event of this
probably the
arc.
is that probably the biggest like one of or this is technically would you consider like this is the first really big fight of the
Yeah.
series.
Oh. Like
Like
comparing it to the
real.
first arc. Yeah, I definitely think so
Yeah.
because like between people, the biggest we got was like Ishida versus Ichigo. And the
Yeah.
only other one but was when Ichigo got beat by Renji and
Yeah. Yeah. So like him and Renji and Bakuya was Bakuku. Am I saying his name right or I don't think I'm saying it right. Let
Byakuya?
me check.
Byakuya.
Byakuya. Yeah. Like those are probably like the first like big fights and challenges, but this feels like the first like real fight where it's not just like one person getting the shit beat out of them kind of thing.
Yeah, because Ichigo
Oh,
does
yeah.
sort of kick Renji's ass in this
Oh yeah,
in
yeah.
when
Oh
he
yeah,
gets
he did just beat him. Yeah, Renji is also good. I have to give Renji props. I knew that Renji would be good, but I like that he has I like his backstory with Rukia. They were like childhood friends from, I think one of the poorer districts which the one of the poorer districts and then she gets chosen to be adopted by this family. I think that's going to be really interesting because she obviously didn't want to get adopted by this family,
yeah.
but then he also completely misread her expression and the situation and was like happy for her because she would be provided for and get into this society and stuff. So he's obviously really cared about her for like the longest time. I wonder why he's not he comes around to be like please save Rukia, but I wonder why he wasn't trying to like
He does say it.
you know
He does say it. He said like he's trained so much
oh I see.
and he never thought he could do it, so he just was
Yeah,
afraid.
true. Yeah, that makes sense.
But now like having seen what Ichigo like has the
Yeah.
power to actually surpass this guy, he's like do what I couldn't essentially.
Yeah, okay, so that's fair. He's
Yeah.
just poor, poor guy. But
Yeah.
they have a cool dynamic and I'm glad that it's like I guess you could call whatever happened with like Rukia getting adopted and him, being okay, happy for that. And then, she's obviously not, but he's trying to be happy for her, even though he might like secretly know
Yeah.
she's not happy about it. That's like a good miscommunication. Like he's so caught up in wanting the best for her that he can't see how unhappy she is, and that like he didn't say the right thing. That's
Yeah.
like a good use of miscommunication, for that. But that's a good reminder. He's trying to beat Byakuya because he wants to, I guess, like essentially free Rukia, but
All right, Shaw.
he's
real
not
quick, real
he's
quick.
not
I'm
built
gonna coach
different.
you through this, okay? B, the
E
letter B.
E
Ah,
E ah
ku,
ooh yeah.
yeah. So just remember the letter B and then go Byakuya.
Byakuya.
Yeah.
Byakuya. Okay, we did
Yeah.
it. So I can't have him top 5 until I can say his name. He's not top 5
He's
at the
not
moment because
allowed.
he hasn't done anything. He can't. He's getting gate kept from me based on pronunciation and not having enough page time. But he's not making the top 5 yet, just because I can't. I can't say his name.
It's okay.
Byakuya.
I just wanted to help.
No, I appreciate it because I was just like Byakuya. Yeah, Byakuya.
Yeah. What else did I want to talk about? Did we already talked about artwork?
Oh, I have I have two things to bring up. Unless you want to, if you had something to bring up, you go first.
No, go for it. I've been like just
So we
bringing up
got
all this stuff, so
No, I feel bad. I just keep rambling on.
go.
So we got to 2 of the most iconic lines that and pages I could say. 2 of the most iconic lines. First one we kind of covered in the fight, but it's the "You're 1,000 years too young to challenge me" from Byakuya, and
Yeah.
it's one of the like last pages. But I got so excited because I've heard you're 1,000 years too young to really challenge me, or you're 1,000 years too late. Let me find the exact phrasing. Let me find it.
Wait,
Um,
hold on. Oh, with
you pre-
Yoruichi
you
to.
couldn't. No, no, it's just to it's right before her entrance. It's the overwhelming difference in our skills. You couldn't defeat me in 1,000 years,
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
I'm not sure which I think has been um either like in the dub or meme to like you're 1,000 years too late to beat me or too young to beat me or too early to beat me. I've heard like various iterations of that. 1,000 years too early to beat me. Yeah. So I've heard that for years, and it's such a great meme and such a great thing to say. Um, just in general. So you could say that to anyone. Obviously, us old heads can say that to anyone younger. They're 1,000 years too
Wait,
young to beat us.
did this
But
originate from here?
that's what I think. I think someone said it originates from that.
That's
So I think that's the
crazy.
source
I
of this.
didn't know
I
all
think that's
this
the
time
source.
that this was the source.
It's it's Bleach. Yeah, so
Wow.
I think that's a Bleach classic. 1,000 years too early to beat me. I'm gonna look it up. It's
Now,
either that or Fist of the North Star.
oh, you know what?
It might.
It might be Fist of the North Star.
Is it? Okay.
Maybe.
I'm gonna look it up.
Just because it's so old. And I feel like no, well
Years
maybe
old meme. Okay.
1,000 years too old.
Oh wait, no. So that's no. I don't think. No, that's no. I think that's Fist of the North Star. I got it wrong. But they have an iteration of this. Yeah, I just found it from Fist of the North Star. Maybe I should read that too. Let's. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
I just
sense.
found it. Yep.
Because I was like, that would
You're
be
1,000 years
crazy
too early to fight me.
if
Okay, I'm
Bleach
gonna credit
originated
it
that.
to Bleach though until I read
Yeah.
that. So, but like obviously Bleach might have taken inspiration from that. So like a lot of people got it from this, even
Yeah.
though Fist of the North Star close enough. But the one iconic panel I did see that is 100% Bleach is I couldn't even imagine Chad losing, which is such a funny page, especially in like knowing the way it's been memed and seeing what happens immediately after. That is like the original "Nah, I'd win." That is the original "Nah, I'd win," and it's so funny.
Hold on, I gotta pull it up for myself. Can't even imagine Chad losing and then he loses. That's so funny. My God. I don't think I've seen the meme of that actually. Is it used a lot?
Yeah, I've just seen it post. I just see it post a lot. I think because it is like the original "Nah, I'd win," but like people post that and they're like, we know what happens with that.
Gosh. Chad losing.
And says, "Can you?" Al said, "Can you tell JJK is Bleach inspired?" It's like here's the 1-to-1. We got the I can't even imagine Chad losing versus the "Nah, I'd win."
It's like now we
So
got
iconic.
a shonen every like 10 years that gives the facelift to like all these older memes.
Yeah.
It brings it back for the new generation.
Yes. We need that to happen for each group. Yeah, so
Um,
that was funny. I like with the Chad fight that we got. The Chad fight was cool because we got to see that like his background of being I think technically like born in Japan, but then living most of his life in Mexico
Yeah.
and then coming back. Like he's treated differently just like Ichigo, so that's like their bond, because Ichigo has like his orange hair, so everyone, makes fun of him and beats him up and stuff. So that's how he kind of learns to fight because he's just kind of like, yeah, if anyone's different, they just pick on them. So I think that's a really cool point of connection for both of those characters as kind of like, outcasts, so to speak, at least
Yeah.
physically.
And he gave Chad a reason to like use his
To
strength
use,
for like protecting
yeah,
people, which goes along with the theme of like, Ichigo like from the first arc about like using your
yeah,
strength responsibly. Um
yeah.
and actually can I couch this part of the discussion in like what I was going to actually get to, which was just
Yeah.
thoughts on character arcs for, within this arc, like for
Hmm.
each of the core cast. You got Ishida, Orihime, Chad, Ichigo.
Hmm.
We've talked about, so you don't really have to. I mean, you could, I guess,
Yeah.
touch on Ichigo.
He had an interesting thing with the like when he looked like he was about to lose to Kenpachi, and he was like went inside his sword and truly learned to like listen to his sword and become like, you know, more in tune with it. I thought that was really
That's right.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
And we got to see like negative Ichigo, and I've seen that before, so I know he's coming back,
That's
and that's going to be a plot
actually
point.
one of the questions I wanted to bring up while we're talking about that. What do you think of this that keeps coming up, and they keep hinting at this? It's
The hollow face,
yeah, I put it
right?
up on the screen, but you might not.
Yeah.
It's gonna show up
No,
soon.
I saw that before, but
Okay, yeah, the hollow mask. It's showed up like at the end of last arc. It showed up at the beginning, and it showed up again with Yoruichi here at the end.
um, just to recap, so like a hollow is essentially someone who loses their soul.
Yeah,
Okay, and then they
like
have like a lot of powers.
yeah, like they turn into a monster. They kind of
Okay,
because they literally become like they lose their soul, so they become hollow.
yes. So yeah, so it's essentially like it's essentially would be if Ichigo lost to like negative Ichigo, which I presume is like the hollow inside of him. I presume that's the, metaphor or whatever, who's like
Yeah,
helping him. It's giving him strength, but he would be losing himself to like his monstrous instincts, but also like the monster taking over his soul. So
yeah,
it's kind of like the classic berserker
yeah.
move of like, are you going berserk mode at the expense of your soul and
That's a good
like
connection.
sanity and
Yeah,
control?
and
Yeah,
actually, it's also
that's
because I think Ichigo technically almost died when Urahara
yes.
forced him to like do to speed up
Yes,
his
that's right.
training.
Yeah.
So maybe he's drawing powers from that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the fact that it keeps like finding its way back and it's like, oh, look, that was in his pocket and he almost died, but that thing got in the way. So that's definitely going to be a thing. And I think the whole foreshadowing of like Ichigo fighting and his soul, like he's him, we're going to see like Hollow Ichigo again.
We've got
Um,
like a Kingdom Hearts situation where you gotta
it's a
fuse
a nobody.
the yeah
Is it the nobody Ichigo? I should call
yeah
him that.
the darkness and the light. You gotta use both. You know, you gotta be like Riku.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Humans die. Shinigami sends them to Soul Society via Oversoul with their blades. If a Shinigami is too late, then human ghosts chain, fate corrodes, and they turn into a hollow. Okay, that's a great
Yeah,
recap.
and then Shinigami's job is to purify the Hollows versus Quincy's who like just eradicate them.
Yes. Okay. Um, and that makes sense. And so we got to see, a bit of. Is it Ishida? Is that his name?
Yes.
Ishida. We got to see a bit of him and Orihime doing some stuff. They didn't really get a lot in this
Yeah.
content. They were really like not.
They're kind
They
of
weren't doing much.
yeah, they're kind of I just brought it up cuz I think with Orihime, I think they're going that route of like she's kind of in her head like, oh, I didn't really train as much as these guys. I'm not going to be able to do much. Like it's just
Yeah.
sort of, she's falling
Yeah.
behind and she feels powerless about it.
I did think, they're in these situations like, Chad, Ichigo, Ishida, they're all like wiping out these dudes. I wonder if like is Orihime like gonna be in a combat situation where she's gonna like take people down, or is she just gonna be like the shield, or is she gonna just do like healing stuff? Because it would be really interesting. Because I can't really imagine her just like fighting any of these dudes. Like I feel like she should, but I
Yeah.
just can't really imagine it. So that's gonna be
It's tough
interesting to see. Like,
because like we haven't seen an actual upgrade for her and her only offensive
hmm
ability is like that one I forget what her powers are called, but the one the fairy dude. Like that's the only offensive like attack that she has cuz I think the other one is like healing and the other one is like a shield. It's a shield, so.
yeah,
And that got
yeah.
kind of
So I feel
crushed
like
easily, so last you know, first arc.
yeah, and like we got to see her do have that like offensive capability, but I feel like she's kind of let's say slept on compared to other characters in the series. Like
Yeah.
people like her, they don't like her, but like I don't think I've seen a lot of her kicking ass. And knowing how people felt about female characters in the early 2000s, if they weren't really kicking ass, they didn't like them that much. So I have a bad feeling based on people not really being like Orihime fans that she's not really going to do a lot of like ass kicking. And I'm not saying that makes her a bad character. I'm just making a prediction based on everyone else's input
Yeah.
from her.
So like if they do take her in that direction, we're having with which is like, okay, we can't make her more powerful, so we're just gonna have her reflect on like how she wishes she could do more. What do you think of that character direction? Do you think like does that salvage it? Do you think, it's really just poorly executing her character? Like, did you feel like you wouldn't be as invested in her if that's really where it kind of goes with her?
I think like they can make her really interesting. I think they can make her very interesting. They just have to like I don't know. I don't know. Like they can definitely make her interesting. I don't need her to be like kick ass and stuff. I think she just has to have like a good role in the story and really stick to it. Like I really liked what we saw of her in the first arc, like how she was defending her friend and like awoken these powers, but like
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that will carry over. I know that they're gonna keep doing the like, she's pretty much just I'm not gonna say she's simping after Ichigo, but she's definitely like, she has the cool moments of like looking after him because he's not eating, and then she's like, fantasizing about him like when she's sleeping and like waking up imagining it's him, but it's not him, and she's like, oh, that's whoops awkward. But
Yeah.
I essentially like I think she has to have her own identity, and if that identity is interesting, then she'll be good. She doesn't have to kick ass. I'm just interested to see like what do they do with her moving forward? Like how do they make her feel like a very useful part of the team?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
that'll
feel
be
like
interesting to see.
we gotta see how they integrate her. But that's pretty much
Yes.
all they kind of did with the core cast, because it's really it's Chad fighting, and he actually got more screen time because he fought a captain.
Yes.
And then
And that
everybody,
captain was really cool too. I
yeah,
liked his. I've seen him before, and I think they do a good job of like introducing someone in a really cool way, so they're a big deal. Like this guy with the cherry blossom motif, and he's kind of just being like a goofball, like, "Yo, let's just chill." And Chad's like, "No, I got to fight for Ichigo." And the dude's like, "Unfortunately, I will now defeat you." So that. Unfortunately, Chad did
yeah,
lose. It's GG.
he's just like, hey man, it's just business, nothing personal.
It's just like I didn't want to, but we can't just you won't sit around here and drink with me, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Kind of a bro, kind of a cool bro move.
yeah,
I think what I'm interested to see is like how many people in the series like actually will die. I know the main group um I know the main group is probably not dying because we're going to see them, and I know a lot of the captains are probably not dying, but it'll be interesting to see if like are any of these like assistant captains, are they gonna die? Like, I wonder how much the stakes will get to the point where like people get like very like killed versus like mostly injured. That's what I'm gonna be interested to see.
yeah. Any predictions?
I feel well. One funny note: the gag with his lieutenant throwing flowers over him for his entrance, that was really funny.
Yeah,
I like that a
that
lot.
was funny.
Um, I feel like the majority of the captains are not gonna die because I see them around so much. That I can't really imagine like them just only being shown and then dying. I think they're going to be around for a bit, and I feel like the scope will change once not a die again. Yeah, they will. I think they'll just pretty much be around. Um, but I'm not sure. I guess it's like I kind of know some things of like Aizen will be like betraying the Soul Society. I wonder what happens in the future when is it like Ichigo fights with the captains. Like I just wonder what the dynamic will look between all these characters who are originally like fighting each other. Like what are they fighting next? Like what is the next goal?
Yeah,
That's what's going to be interesting.
yeah, yeah. Um, I think what I like so far about this part of the arc is, or even just Soul Society in general, is even though like they might not, the captains might not die or people aren't going to die, possibly, maybe. I do still feel like there's a good enough amount of tension and there's a really good
Yeah,
escalation. Like it's really good,
yeah,
like levels of escalation where the plot thickens, the twists and turns, like as we said before, and everything is just getting more and more intense as makes sense as the deeper or the more within Ichigo goes, like the layers.
definitely.
So that really keeps the momentum of the arc because it just feels like even if he's like he has to stop to train now where we left off, it's not going to be that long. Yoruichi already said like it's 3 days. So
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see like when we get the Byakuya backstory, I think that's going to be a huge turning point. Maybe not even maybe in the story, but also just in general because like he's a complete mystery, and we have all of these characters who are like surrounding him or orbiting him in some capacity. Like Rukia, obviously, they don't have a good dynamic or not an open one. Um, Renji and him, obviously, like, they work together, but Renji always wants to defeat him. Um, you know, uh, I'm already Yoriuchi, like, she has history with him, and he just kind of gives off the impression that like he doesn't really care about anything, but he seems totally all in on Rukia getting killed. Like,
Yeah.
I am interested to see like what's the deal with him
Yeah.
because I think that'll be very interesting because they obviously have to do a lot to show like what his motivations are and what he's fighting for. Because he is fighting for things, even though he doesn't seem very passionate about anything. Like
Yeah.
he is that cool guy, like character of like, you're too slow for me, like 1,000 years
Yeah.
too late
Cool
to defeat
guy,
me, kind of thing.
like super, like icy, stoic, like just
Yes,
like
yeah,
literally unmoving. Um,
yeah.
but that's a good
And I
point. Yeah.
And I presume, like, since I've heard a lot of this with connections to JJK, that, like, I think we're going to get a lot of characterization for the characters through the fights. Like, we already got that with Kenpachi. Like, the whole point of, like, Kenpachi losing was because he was at odds with his sword, because he wasn't listening to his sword. Like, he wasn't in, they didn't have the synergy that,
Yeah.
Ichigo and his did. And that also comes from, like, Kenpachi always being alone, like, never having a name, having those, like, super solidary origins, and then like he's obviously let in his vice captain, and like they know each other, but like he's very much like, no, I'll do it alone. Like, obviously that individualism was beaten by Ichigo's connection with his sword. So
Yeah.
I presume whatever happens in the Akuya fight will like reveal that, and it's like, okay, Ichigo not only physically has to defeat him, he has to like like defeat his
Ideology.
ideals or
Yeah.
philosophy,
Yeah.
ideology, exactly.
Yeah. And that's such a cool detail the way they did that, like really like explaining more about the swords and like the connection to them
Hmm.
through battles, and it kind of also makes you excited for how much stronger even Kenpachi, who's like an enemy, but you're rooting for
Yes.
him. You like how much more
Yeah,
exciting
he's
for him
dope.
to get stronger. It's like
Yeah.
damn, like he took off the eye patch, he's already
Yeah, drop
stronger.
the weights.
He doesn't even know the fucking name of his sword. Now he might know it. Oh my god, so
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
yeah.
He's a really good battle maniac, like one of the
Yes, I
early
love the strong.
shonen
Yeah, the
battle maniacs. Yeah,
I love the battle maniacs. I think that's such a great trope. It's because it to a certain degree you need a certain level of like synergy between the reader and the characters in terms of enjoying fights. Like if we're gonna enjoy the fights, we want to believe the characters are enjoying the fights as well.
yeah,
And like it's always good to have like at least one, hopefully more of those who are like battle maniacs who are having the time of their lives, like beating the shit out of each other.
yeah. Because when you go to like a shonen manga, it's like you're here for the action, so it's great. Like the
Yeah.
character validates you in world and is just like, hey, I'm here for action too, so let's fucking do this. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the Blood Knight archetype, as people have mentioned. I have not known. I've heard of this archetype, but
yep, never heard of it either. Interesting.
I did not know that was the name of it. I'm learning so much. So that makes sense.
What did you think
Yeah,
of
so that
I think they touched on the Kenpachi lore too, like the lore of like what a Kenpachi is. I think. Do you remember that?
yeah, that's like the strongest that's like the strongest of the squad. I
Yeah.
think that's cool. That's interesting too, because like he never had a name, so he's defined by his role of being the strongest. So that's also a cool detail of like, he lives and dies by being the strongest. So
Yeah.
it's like I imagine if we see more of him, which we probably will, that he will have more of like a sense of like trying to define his identity either by becoming stronger or through other means or whatever. But I did notice that like he has the I think I was looking it up. I was not looking up spoilers. I was just looking up Bleach on Mal, and I was looking up the character favorites because I am weird and I like seeing which characters end up having the most amount of favorites.
Mm.
Just like historically, it's interesting to see like for people who use Mal, like who are their
Yeah.
favorites because
Yeah.
it's not going to line up with like the popularity polls per se. But Kenpachi has the second most amount of favorites out of everyone
I believe it.
in the cast besides Ichigo. So he is a fan favorite.
Yeah, like he was always a favorite when I was like reading it back in the day. So, it wasn't hard
So
to see
he's been a
why.
favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah, is he? So he's one of your favorids in the cast.
not revealing it yet. I was just saying in
Oh
general.
yeah, we have that.
in
Oh yeah,
general.
in general,
I
yeah.
knew people that would like cosplay him and like would always like be
Ah,
talking
that's
about
cool.
him. So,
And he's a good design. That's like he's not like I don't want to anger anyone. He's not like conventionally attractive,
Yeah.
but like he has a cool
he's more of like
standout
a
design.
more of like a rugged kind of
Yes,
look.
exactly.
Um,
Exactly. But you know who he is as soon as you see him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
So a
see.
great design.
Yeah, no. He has like a great design, which I think is like very important in anime. Just like you gotta have
Yes.
like characters have like an interesting
But
silhouette.
I have never appreciated character designs more than today because I did one of those like one of like my friends made like a like 500 main character tier list and they have like just 500 characters and I
That's
was
crazy.
scrolling through that. Yeah, it was they a lot of good shout out to them, good effort. You do not realize how many generic looking characters there are until you see like 100 Kirito looking dudes all in a row and you can't tell who
Yeah.
they are. Like could not tell any of them. And then I was like, damn, like I really do appreciate a good character design because I can't even tell who any of these guys are. Like
Someone
I don't
just
know who
said.
has
Sorry, I laughed. Someone just said you're not
this.
attracted to the spider hair. So funny.
No, that's a that's a good look. It is so funny though. It's so like 2000s. It's so early 2000s of
Yeah.
just like
Yeah. Actually,
hair gel.
yeah.
It's gonna be
Or like
me like
the mohawk too.
yeah,
What did you No, but that's a good point. Like there's so many character designs of like dudes that just look like generic like
Kirito.
Kirito, you know. So
Yeah, the Kirito or like light novel MC design like
I think we should like
everywhere.
do an analysis. I mean, like I'm adding like all these ideas that
No, I
we're
love it.
probably not going to do, but hey, write it down.
It's fun.
Is of like look at let's like take a look at all the iconic like character designs and just see
Hmm.
like how many of them are generic and then like rule out like if they're all unique or like is if a good majority if any generic designs did make it to the top of like iconic designs.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it's almost an interesting thought point of like who do you credit if we call it Kirito design? Is it like Kirito's design is almost iconic because he inspired everyone behind
Yeah.
him to look boring? Like, do we give him credit for that, or do you have to find like the source, like
Yeah.
the OG generic? I don't know. It's so
Well, I
interesting.
would say like even like we just take all the iconic like the most iconic characters and just see how different they are from each other to just see like
Yeah,
if
yeah,
yeah. That'd
in
be
their
cool.
time period, which is interesting. See,
Let's
okay, this is a good call. Like Bradman brought up, Gojo is pretty iconic yet generic. I think it's interesting because Gojo's design has like bits and pieces of other people's designs, but I think because of like the full package of like
what makes
blonde.
Gojo is his aura.
But yeah, that's the thing is like his aura makes it his own. So like, is Gojo the first character to have an eye patch? I know, I mean a blindfold. No, but now when you think of blindfolds, who do you think of first? Gojo. Like
Gojo.
even when he's not going to be in like it'll be like years of like us not seeing Gojo in anime until they drop season 3. We're still going to associate the blindfold with Gojo. Like he's going to have that. So it's almost like he kind of overrides yeah, like he overrides the original, or he takes maybe like generic elements of like different things and puts together that makes it unique.
Yeah,
But I have
I agree
I
with
have
that.
interesting thoughts. Yeah, like what am I cooking?
Let's see.
I'm spoiled. Bleach being my first anime, so every other series has been downhill with character designs. You're not kidding. You're definitely not kidding. Like if I started with Bleach when I was a kid and went to other shows, I'd be like, no,
I,
this is ass. This looks terrible.
I'm having the opposite trajectory. Going back to Bleach, I'm like, damn, how have I not appreciated good character designs till now? I think this is retroactively ruining everything else.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, I don't know if white hair and blue eyes is generic because I see so much white hair, red eyes as the go-to.
oh,
Just
speaking
still
of white,
responding to JoJo.
sorry, yeah, no.
Speaking of white hair,
Speaking of white hair,
speaking of white hair,
thoughts on Hitsugaya? You've only seen a little bit of him, and you don't even have to talk because you haven't seen too much of his personality. It's more of what do you think about what's cooking with him and his history with Momo, and kind of like his whole thoughts on the conspiracy, and you know how he's kind of
yeah. So we will reveal more on him later, but or should I reveal now? I don't have it on right now, so that might be the next stream. But I'm gonna tell the backstory now, and then whoever sees it later or whatever. So my mom got me a Bleach shirt before I had started Bleach, and um like before she doesn't know what Bleach is. Like she doesn't know. She
that's
just
so
gets like
funny.
anime shirts. So and she
That's
got
so
me
funny.
a Hitsugaya Toshiro. Are we what do we call him? Either
Oh yeah, either
Hitsugaya?
go Hitsugaya.
Yeah, so Hitsugaya. she got me this shirt and it has him and like I think his powers. She's like, I don't know what this is from, but it's just such a cool looking design and cool looking shirt that I had to get it for you. And I'm like, okay, so now I have this Bleach t-shirt and I haven't gotten to the character and I don't know him yet. So I'm like, okay, so now I'm gonna wear that. So when we get to the biggest Hitagaya content, I will be wearing the shirt that
When
my mom got for me literally like 5 years ago.
when
Like
you
dead. She just
that one, that's hilarious. That she just thought like this is her aesthetic.
got
This is shock horror. She'll like this.
She literally is just like she evolved from buying the like eat sleep anime t-shirts to just she like saw that one. She's like, "Oh, no, this looks cool. I just thought I'd get it for you." Like, and we're talking like 3 to 4 years ago. Like she just got me the shirt. I'm like, "Yeah, I guess this looks cool." My mom co-signed Bleach designs
Yeah,
because she's like she wasn't saying like this looked cool. Like her own voice was like it's so beautiful looking. Like look how beautiful this design is. I couldn't not buy it in like a very mom way. So I'm like, okay, mom, you co-signed Bleach.
So what you're saying is if your mom read Bleach, Hitsugaya would be in her top five.
I don't know. I don't know. My mom, like, I don't know, but she in the store and presumably Target or wherever, or maybe Amazon, like the design stood out.
All right. So when Hitsugaya inevitably gets into your top five and you're wearing the shirt,
Yes.
then you're close enough to call him Toshido. Then you can start calling him
Then
Toshido.
I gotta be first, like first name basis.
Yeah.
But um,
That's really funny.
yeah. So
I
yeah.
was like
So I have
thinking
no.
today, I'm like, I don't have a Bleach shirt, like to wear.
I had to find it. I don't know where it is, but I've been saving it for this occasion. Um, so she just like randomly got me this shirt, and it was really funny. So I'm like, shout out to my mom. Um, but yeah, so I think he had a cool role. Like he's obviously intriguing because they kind of were like some of the other captains had some like animosity towards him because he was promoted so quickly and they called him the prodigy in like a mocking way. So like obviously he's kind of like that guy and it seems like a lot of people have some beef with him,
Yeah.
but he seems very interesting so far because he's kind of playing this like, neutral role among the captains of like, what's going on here. Let's not blame anyone, but like you guys both got in a fight, like go to your corners, like sit it out. But then he's also willing to do Momo a favor by like giving her what was found in Aizen's room. Like obviously he cares about people he has a good relationship with. So like he seems like a really interesting character, definitely someone to keep an eye on. And I think he'll obviously play a big role in the upcoming political intrigue that I'm anticipating.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. You're gonna get more of him, and then that'll be maybe enough to solidify your ranking. But for now,
Maybe.
let's get to the character rankings. What are you?
Yeah.
What are you feeling so far, Shah?
Okay, this is gonna be really different based off of, you know,
Do you want me to like
this
preserve like the initial list, like separate it, like to
yeah.
remember what you?
Yeah, let's do like another, you go do another one so it's like under it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like it's like the popularity poll. So it's like we got the first round and then the second round.
I'm gonna just call it by arc. So Shinigami
Okay.
arc, or substitute Shinigami arc.
This is gonna be tough. This is gonna be tough because it's gonna be very obviously influenced by like age time.
And
Like
I
it's not.
I think it can be because by the end of the arc, I think we'll solidify it for the arc.
Okay, do we want to go like? Do we just say our top 5 in a row, or do we want to like trade off picks?
Do you have your
Which
top
is
five
easier?
already in your head? Like, do you already have them in your head?
I'm gonna do it live. I'm gonna do the top 5 live. Because I'm looking at the popularity poll results, which is essentially all of the characters we know thus far.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. Okay, this is cool. This is a cool design layout you have for the display. Just props for the
Oh,
the
thank you.
for everyone. Props to Onimura for having our updated design layout.
I
They're cool.
just went the simplest way possible.
But it looks good. I feel like this works out well.
Thank you.
Um,
Okay, so you want to go live?
yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do Ichigo top 1 again. I feel like
Okay.
he's done a really good job of still maintaining like he has enough going on writing wise, but he's still very like entertaining. I also like do value since we have so many characters. It's like who do I look forward the most to seeing?
Yeah, and oh well, also
Like who?
Ichigo is so like center stage, especially right now.
Yes,
Like
yeah,
he's literally driving the plot forward, so it's
yeah,
hard to not, you
and
know.
there's like good details with Ichigo of like them asking, why are you risking your life for Rukia? You've only known her for a couple months. Like, how could you have a connection that strong that
Yeah,
you would risk your life for her? And his view of like, she saved my life, I have to save her life. Like he obviously cares about Rukia, but it's also like he feels like he owes her a debt, and I think that's very
yeah,
compelling. And as Al said, his interactions with um Zangetsu and White Ichigo have been very interesting so far.
yeah,
And yeah, just like a lot, he's doing a great job as the main character. Like good main character moves.
yeah. I'd agree with that. I liked his moment where he leaves the world and Zangetsu tells him like, "Hey, like Ichigo, as long as like it's very lonely when it rains in here," like a reference back
Yeah, that was
to
very interesting.
Ichigo's relationship with rain, and he's pretty much like, "As long as
Yeah.
you're with me, I'll make it happen that it won't rain in here," or something like that.
That's such a great point because I forgot about the rain motif, which is so important for him.
Yeah,
It feels silly I forgot that. But that's so cool to already show that connection. Oof, that's good.
yeah.
I can't wait for my favorite dynamic to be like Ichigo and his sword. Like it's just
Hey,
gonna be like the
I
sword
said
talks back.
Zangetsu in my first character ranking. Saw something there.
No, that's so fire. That's a good pick.
All
No,
right.
now I want to put him
No,
in my top favorite.
I mean
It's like it's
you can
yours.
now for the updated one, like
Uh, okay.
that way like we track like the progression.
Yeah. It's like okay, I'm gonna steal Onimaru's characters for mine and just like with those up.
Go for it.
Uh, Second one is tough. I think I do have to say, I think I'm gonna say, we got a lot from him already. I had a lot of positive thoughts on him already. I think I'm gonna say Kenpachi. I think
Nice.
Kenpachi deserves the top two. As we discussed, love the what did we call him? The Blood Knight vibe. I like
Yeah.
that. It might be a Redmond classic, but I will pull that. I think he does a great job. We got a lot in a short amount of time, and just like an entire chapter dedicated to his entrance and aura, is just great. I think they just did a great job with him, and
Yeah.
I think we'll see more of him, but he's earned that popularity. So
All right. Third one.
this is tough. I
What do you?
feel like we got a lot of characters, and there's so much.
And again, like
This is
because there's still the rest of the arc to go. It's just where you
yeah,
feel right now. So
yeah,
like after you see like all the character interactions by the end, then obviously you're gonna update it based on that.
yeah. It's so tough. I almost want to put Ganju up there. Like I almost
He's
want to
going up
put.
there. He's
I'm
going up.
putting him up there. I can't believe no one has spoken about him. I'm gonna give him his flowers for this arc until more characters
Is he
get
number three
introduced. I'm
though?
gonna put. It's like who else has we've seen that much in this context? Okay, so we're gonna do let's do here. We'll do Chad. Chad third. Do the
Okay.
Chad.
I'm just gonna put there's no way Chad is
Okay, I
gonna
got it.
lose.
There's no way Chad is gonna. Yeah, just but there's no way Chad would lose. Okay, I got it. I got it. Um, no, we're gonna do no third officially. Actually, taking everything into consideration, still Rukia. I'm gonna put Rukia
Okay, cool, cool.
third, and then I will put Chad and Ganju.
Nice.
Because I do think Chad. I like what we got from him, and there's no way Chad would lose. How would he get kicked out of the top five? Of course,
Exactly.
how would he lose? But I think Rukia and Ganju's dynamic is enough intrigue, and I think they were both good enough individually to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I think that will also, I'm interested in seeing more from both of them. Also, I do think Ganju just deserves, he just he deserves some recognition after, he helped
After you
literally
after you
carry the team.
completely like shat all over him.
He has a bad design in a series with great designs. Literally, no one has mentioned him ever, despite him being like a semi-major player at this point. Like,
Yeah,
he's forgotten by everyone, but I'm gonna give him some props. So
I
had to
respect
do
that.
it.
I
Yeah.
respect that.
Okay.
I'm like in the
Okay.
side here. Just I wrote like all the characters that appear in this arc, and I'm just like trying to remember who's who.
Honestly, if you want, I can link you the Bleach Wiki popularity poll results because it's very helpful to see all the names listed
Yeah, that
out.
might skew my
Yeah.
ranking. I might be like, oh, you know what? They might be onto something.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I left our Urahara. I do think they'll be interesting in the future. I'm waiting to see more of them in the future. I
okay.
think them Yurichi will be more interesting.
That's
But
why I figure
I'm
like again, it'll change by the end. I think we can like I think
yeah.
this could be like this the solidified Soul Society list could be at the end.
Yes, part 1 and part 2. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
excited to hear yours. This is gonna be
It's not gonna be like
yours will be
super.
good.
It's not gonna be that exciting. It's
No,
gonna be
it's gonna be
like
exciting.
it's gonna be
It's
like
gonna be hype.
Ichigo, Kenpachi. See, it's already like off to the same start.
We got the vibes.
But I don't know where. Hold on. Now I gotta think of order here.
See, that's where it gets tricky because you're like, okay, who do I put third?
I definitely Yorichi is top 5. I don't know where yet.
Yeah.
But her entrance and
Yeah,
the whole
she's
thing
great too.
was amazing.
I feel bad leaving her off. I think she was great too.
And
She did a lot of carrying the squad.
Yeah. Let's see. And I loved like what they introduced so far, at least at the stopping point. Like if we didn't get that extra chapter, like 118, I might have not included her. But you got enough of like who she was, her relationship with the other squad members, and her powers. That's like
Yurichi chapter.
yeah. Let's see. Momo. I'm just like looking through the characters.
Yeah, there's a lot. And it's tough not to put like I know Aizen will be good. I know like Jin will be good. I know Yoshiro will be good when I get to their content later. I'm very intrigued. So I feel like that's also kind of tough if you also know like the full context of what these people do. It's probably tough to like separate like okay, we got to stop at this point.
Yeah, I'm gonna like focus on just this arc and see if that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that I was
which
thinking
is, I
ahead,
think
but just I'm like specifically thinking of like what happened in this arc. Let's see. You put Ichigo. Oh wait. Oh, I'm gonna put Rukia because actually Rukia's stuff is like very interesting still. Like,
Rukia is really great, really great. I mean, no surprise, but I really like Rukia. I think her content has been really cool so far, and I can't imagine that changing. So she's great.
let's see. Okay, I think I know. So we talked about Orihime. We talked about Ishida. They didn't really do a lot.
They did like
Introductions.
pretty much nothing.
We didn't get a lot of the captains in this arc. Like we got a little bit besides obviously Kenpachi and oh, okay, hold on. I know who I'm gonna put. Okay. I'm either between hold on, I had fuck it. Byakuya.
Okay, that's he just said some cool shit, and now he gets it, deserved. But is he gonna be? Will he go up in my favorites after I learn how to say his name and see his stuff?
Yeah, I think so, definitely.
Okay.
But I put him like at the bottom though, like number 5.
Okay, okay, which is good considering what we
Yeah.
have so
So I
far.
was like trying to think if like there was anyone else that stood out, but I think that's pretty good because those are at least. Let's see.
I agree.
I was tempted
My
to
internet
put I
cut
was
out.
tempted to put Yachiru, but you know you don't really see a lot of her, which is
Which one is she?
Kenpachi's lieutenant.
Oh, his person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I totally get that. I think she was cool too. And like Jin is obviously going to be interesting. Shout out to I forget her name. I'm trying to look up her character because she kind of just showed up
Oh,
once.
Wait a second. You know what? Actually, sorry. I don't know why, but over Byakuya, I would put actually Ikaku.
Which one is Ikaku?
He's the bald guy. The very first fight, Ichigo goes
Yo,
into.
he's actually kind of good, right? He's
I
actually
love
kind of
him.
cool.
Yeah, no,
He was
he's
great. He was good.
yeah. I kind of have to, cause yeah, he had a whole like he was great. He had a good first
He was
introductory
good.
fight.
He had some good stuff going on. I like how he didn't snitch on. I like how he didn't snitch to the other captain. Like he's loyal to his captain, and he wasn't snitching to the other squads, which
Yeah,
was really cool.
and like when I thought
That's a
about
really
it,
cool pick.
yeah, because when I thought about it, like I was just gonna go Byakuya based off of like design and like him revealing his ability, but he doesn't really get like the good stuff until like probably next arc. So
Okay, cool.
yeah,
We're gonna see him again. That's good to hear.
yeah, like where he gets more fleshed out.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
that's fair.
I
And he had a lot of content.
yeah, so
Um,
I think I'm good with this. Yeah, these are
I think
our picks.
that's a great pick.
Let me
Yeah, I
like
think
move our stuff like the old arc stuff down so that way our like new updated rankings are on top. Let's see.
yeah, that makes sense.
And we can always refer to it.
Ikaku, I really liked also of note in that fight. I loved a lot of the paneling and layouts for like their fight, like how they showed it's like the classic samurai, when it shows like how much blood is dripping from each person to show how like injured they are.
Yeah.
They did a lot of that while going back and forth to really show how they were like evenly matched. That's like a sneaky good fight. Like a very as in like people probably wouldn't think of it compared to the big ones we were talking about, but that's like very sneaky well done.
I think
so,
it was
gotta give
also
credit.
great because like Ikaku didn't really like he wasn't like overly hostile to Ichigo. Like he had like a good like sportsman type of vibe, even though like they're intruders, but they were like he respected him as a warrior, at least even though he questioned his abilities, but he recognized them. I think Radman played really well. He had great chemistry with Ichigo.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it. And we got it's let me think. What was I gonna say? We got so many. Get to see so many people. I really hope we get to see a lot of the captains and vice captains fight. Like I'm sure we will. Like that's kind of like what I imagine will happen in the series. But slight tangent. It was like a final tangent, or if we didn't have anything else to say. But I'm not sure if you saw it a bit ago, but like there was an interview between Geiji, the Jujutsu Kaisen mangaka, and Kubo, of course, the Bleach mangaka. They had an interview back and forth, and it was essentially like it was when I think like JJK first came out within like the first couple years, and it was like essentially asking like oh like what inspired you of Bleach, and then like what do you like about JJK? It's like which characters have like made an impact on you. And when they got to like the female characters, Kubo was like, not your female characters haven't really left an impact on me, so to speak. And he's like, why aren't you drawing like hot characters? And it was something like Geiji said something like my parents are reading and I'd feel too embarrassed. And as soon as it was something funny like that where he's like I would be embarrassed by that. But as soon as I saw Ranguku's design, the Toshiro's like vice captain, I was like, yo, that like I know that he's just like waiting for Geiji to draw someone like that. Like I knew immediately. And he's like, where are the hot bitches? Where are they?
That's his sneaky ideal. Like that's like
that's his idea. He's like, where are the hot chicks, dude? And you have just Geiji being here like
Rangiku's low key like Kubo's ideal, and then like Gege is probably like picturing exactly that when he's like, why aren't you drawing hot girls?
I cannot draw that.
He's like, my parents, I can't.
Yeah, he's like, I can't do that. I can't do it. It's so funny because I was like, it's so funny just seeing a design. I'm like, yo, I know they were going crazy over. I know every teenage guy was going crazy over that when they read that immediately. It's awesome.
Like so many people I knew were all over Rangiku.
Oh yeah, of course. As they should be, but also you just see a design from a mile away and you're like, I know what you are. I know what you're doing here.
I don't know, man. I mean, like, I didn't get it. I mean, not to put Rangiku down. It's just, I don't know.
There's a lot of good designs in the series, so like there's a lot to pick from, but it's also like I could definitely see him like, yo, that's like we're not getting canceled as soon as she shows up. We're not getting canceled for another week.
She's still a good design. She's still like all of them have great designs.
Sometimes it's a bit on the nose. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Sometimes a bit too on the nose.
Yeah. Turtleman says Gege doesn't want to be horny on main.
Yeah.
That's where Kubo like whispers to him, "Hey, make the alt account."
Well, it's so funny because so I'd say the only character in Jujutsu Kaisen that is like kind of sexualized in kind of a way. Like
Is
it's not that,
I forgot her name.
not Mei, not that.
No? Oh,
That
okay.
was no, that was just no, that was weird. No, I mean a character who like looks sexy like with their powers. They're going to be introduced in the next anime arc, and their power. It's not like that overt. It's not that crazy, but like the closest it comes to that. And he definitely would have had this interview with Kubo beforehand. So in my head, I'm like, he definitely had Kubo in his ear being like, draw the characters hot. And then he drew that character. And I'm like, okay, I can see the
I'm trying to
Kubo
remember who it
influence on this
is.
one.
It's not Angel, right?
Well, you haven't. Oh, you had. Yeah, no, it's,
Well,
remember the Yuta fight with
remember,
that one
like,
girl?
I'm like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
caught up
No, you know her.
to. I'm not caught up to like the recent like 10 chapters. That's where I'm like, I'm that far
Okay.
behind.
Oh, no, you see, it was in the Cullen Games fight. Remember that girl, Urzo or whatever? That
Oh.
fight that Yuta had with the dude with the pompadour
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
like
yeah.
chick in the
That fight.
sky?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that chick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that chick, Uro. He definitely had like Kubo in his mind. He's like, I need to make Senpai proud, and he drew that.
Yeah. Kubo's like was
Uro.
supervising.
Yeah,
He's like, yes, yes.
he took him out to dinner after that one. He's like, we got one. He's like, we got my boy to draw one.
And then he kills her off.
But no,
Spoilers.
I think is she
Oh, yeah?
alive? I think she's alive.
Hmm.
It's not clear.
She didn't get
I
called.
think she's alive. I don't think so. I think she's alive. It's kind of
That's
vague, you know?
so funny.
Yeah, I think she's alive, but
This part of the
yeah.
chat is just very funny. Let's
Our
pin
chat.
this. I would like to reference this in the future.
We're coming back to this.
That's super funny. Make Senpai proud.
It's just so funny because as soon as I see all the female characters, it's like, which of these, who left the most, who is Kubo's idea of like leaves an impression on me.
And it's crazy. Yeah, and it's crazy that like it's the cast is only gonna expand from here. Like
Yeah, because I know we haven't even gotten to like two of the most iconic characters that I know of. The Grimjaw and
Yeah.
the I'm saying their names wrong
no, you
because
said his right.
skill issue. Oh yay, skill issue, but also I haven't gotten to them, so that's my excuse. And then the dude
Try it.
with
Say
the
it.
hollow in him. I can't. I have to read it. Where is his
Don't worry
name?
about it.
Where is he? No, I gotta find him. It's the guy. I
Starts
know
with
who
a-
voices
starts
him.
with a U.
Ulaclora or whatever.
Yeah.
Ulacora? What's it begin?
I think it's. I don't even know if I would get it right. It's one of those things I've always read but never said. Ulquiorra.
Ulquiorra?
Ulquiorra.
Uh.
Ulquiorra.
Yeah.
Now I think I'm messing it up. You know what?
Okay,
We're forgiven on that one.
We'll find it. We'll get there eventually. It's so funny. I love. Thank you for chat, like
Ulquioria.
spelling it out, because like,
No, I know how to spell
like
it.
they're spelling
I
it
just don't know how to
out.
pronounce
They're
it.
spelling it
doesn't help.
out, and it's really helpful. It's so helpful when they say it's like, no, I know how to spell it. Oh, I said it right. Ulquiorra? Yeah, I
Damn
got
it!
one.
I didn't get it. Ah!
Yes.
No!
Thank you, chat. Yes, I got one. Now I'd win.
Oh my god.
This was truly my Bleach. My Bleach Academia.
What's the origin of Ulquiorra? Oh, I fucked it up again.
What?
God damn it! What's the origin of the
Ulquiorra.
name? Is it German?
Maybe it's It might be Spanish.
Is it? No way.
Didn't he have a lot of Spanish
No, they
influence?
do in that arc, but I never
Okay.
thought that was Spanish.
What is the
Ulquiorra. Oh, I'm
Ulquiorra.
dumb. Okay, thank you. I knew
Yes.
what, like,
Yes.
I was able to, yeah, whatever, I lost.
the only one? It is Spanish. Let's go.
Hey,
Let's go.
sometimes Kubo makes shit up. It's Spanish?
Kubo.
Really? Hold on.
The ultimate betrayal.
But I speak Spanish. What the fuck?
Oh, that's interesting. Apparently, a homonym for LK Leora. He who cries. Yo.
Oh.
LK Leora.
Oh, I'm fucking dumb. Oh,
The
el que
betrayal.
llora. El que llora.
El que llora.
I'm so stupid. Okay.
No,
I didn't even realize.
and then you said it in perfect Spanish, and I can't say the phrase, but I can say
El
the
que
stupid
llora.
name.
Oh my god, I didn't
El
even
que
think
llora.
about that. Wow.
That's awesome. That's sick. He has a cool design too. So
All right, we're getting too far ahead.
We're getting too
Last
far ahead.
thing about this arc, I don't have anything else besides talking about the OST. Did you want to talk about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I was listening to that while reading. And I'm gonna definitely watch some of the episodes from the anime because I'm definitely curious. I got to see these dudes in action and hear them with voice actors because something about like hearing characters with voice actors just makes them click for me like
Yeah.
on another level.
I was
Um,
thinking I got to do that too, just because I wanted to hear the tracks like play actually at the scenes
yes.
to kind of go one to one
Yeah.
to place
Yeah,
them.
exactly. And so the tracks, it was very interesting because I was just listening to the OST like kind of on random. Um,
Would we be able to do like a watch along, but not on
like a
YouTube, like
react.
on Twitch, so in
Yeah,
case we get
we could prob.
copyrighted?
Yeah, we should
Where
do
we just
that. I would
like
be down.
watch through
Would you guys
the
be down to
people
watch that?
recommend the episodes, so we don't have to watch all of them, and then like
Yeah,
get a feel for the tracks and the voice actors. That'd be cool.
yeah. I would be down with that. That would be sick. If y'all are down, let us know. We'd not get copyrighted, so we'd
Yeah,
dodge that.
and if we do,
No one else would.
yeah,
I mean, not that many people would be watching. I think we could sneak in. I would be
yeah,
okay. We should do that.
sneaky like
Um,
just low key watch
sneaky.
along. And
Don't
if we
tell
get
them.
our
How would they
account blown
know?
up, I don't care about Twitch,
Yeah,
so it's fine.
win-win.
No
Yeah.
shade to Twitch.
No shade to
Um,
Twitch, but now we'd win.
okay, thoughts on
Yeah.
OST?
It's very interesting because like I knew the one track like one the big one the one the track I'm talking about. It's like Ichigo's theme, which is like very like bombastic, like in your face, like a very hype track. Like I know that one
Number one?
really well. Yeah, number one. Um, that one is great.
I love that
And
song.
then I was just listening to a lot of the other ones that were kind of like mid to high tempo to even some of the like slice of life ones. And it's a very interesting kind of like I want to say experimental track. Like it's a very experimental soundtrack because we've heard a lot of hype soundtracks.
Yeah,
I feel like they nail just like feels very atmospheric, so to speak. Like it's just very interesting. Like
absolutely.
going from
Yeah,
track to track was there very
it's
interesting.
so
And you
intense.
could
Like,
yeah,
yeah, like it just like
yeah,
atmospheric,
very intense.
but like it kind of like it'll mellow out, then it'll get intense, and then it's just like a lot of dissonance.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
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 Um.
Like a lot of dissonance and just very interesting. And I could imagine a lot of the scenes they would be playing in because like obviously we didn't have the scenes like one to one when we were listening,
Yeah.
but like a lot of the scenes I could see working out like the ones of like Ichigo in the rain, like having those introspective moments, maybe even like the training arc he
Yeah.
had. Just a lot that seemed like very interesting. So I'm definitely gonna keep
Now,
the anime and see what's up.
did you hear the one or two tracks that sounded like you were listening to like you were watching Evangelion?
Which ones would they be? Because I probably did, but like I probably
Okay, I
heard
just
them, but
wanted
I
to
was
know
like,
like
nah,
if there was like a
not.
point where you were like, "Is this Bleach?" or like if you had a moment like that, because I did. I was just like at one point listening, I'm
Um,
like, "Oh,
I was
this."
so aware from the get-go that I might have like biased myself into it. Like the first track I heard was so interesting. I'm like, yeah, this is Evangelion. I could tell. This
I
is
think
Eva
like
vibes.
I went into it listening to it like either not realizing or forgetting like that the composer is the same as the one that did the
Yep.
OST for Evangelion. So I'm like listening to one of the tracks and I'm just like, huh, I like this vibe. This reminds me of something. And meanwhile, I'm thinking of like Thanatos from Evangelion. I'm like, oh, it reminds me of that. And I'm like,
Yes.
oh, right, same composer. So that was
Are they?
like,
Yeah, I did know. I did know that they had the same composer, so I kind of like poisoned the well already.
the songs that specifically were that for me were, I think it's obvious, it was like Will of the Heart and what was the other one? Sorry, I'm trying to remember what definitely Will of the
Will
Heart.
of the Heart. Yeah.
And I think it was Never Meant to Belong. I think it was that
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like more of the melodic, like sort of
Yeah.
kind of evocative songs.
Yeah. I'm gonna go listen to everything again because I was kind of just like I think I liked the first one I did here was like on Principled Defeat. Like that was really interesting and that was a great way to like start it off.
Yeah.
Um,
I like that one. Especially when it's used in like jokes or memes.
yeah, yeah. That one's great, and it's just like the guitar, like the
'Cause-
good. A lot of it feels very nostalgic, which like it feels so like early 2000s. It just makes me happy. I'm like, oh,
it's all the synths, I guess. On the Precipice of Defeat, like specifically for the anime, that one I clearly remember like nostalgia wise. So it's good that you pointed it out because that one was always played when like I don't know if I'm getting this right, but from what I remember, like Ichigo would have like a spider sense, like a hollow is
Yeah,
coming, and it's like, yo,
I could
what the
see
fuck
that.
is that in the
Ugh.
atmosphere? What's going on? So that one's great for that.
I could definitely see that.
So as soon
Yeah,
as
I
I,
could
I heard
definitely
it,
see
I
that.
was like instant throwback. I was like, oh,
I feel, is this like, has it been a fun overall? Would you say it's like, because there's been enough of a time gap between when you first like read or watched Bleach to now, it's kind of like, it's like fun nostalgia for like everything?
yeah, like I really loved number one, like back in the day, and I completely forgot about it. And then like I once we got on our Bleach kick, I was doing karaoke with friends like I don't know a few
Ah,
months back, and like we were able to like pick anime songs, and then I put on number one, and they're like, why, like why
you're
number
like,
one?
yes,
Not because they hated it, but just because it was like
it
so
was out of nowhere.
yeah
Yeah,
out of nowhere, and I'm like I don't know, man, I've been feeling it lately.
because I'm number one.
Yeah,
Duh.
I got so into it.
Obviously.
It was awesome.
Gotta rep this song because
And
I'm the GOAT.
and it
Yeah.
made me think of like how crazy it was that they had such a like good like fully English track like back then.
Yeah, definitely. It's a true insert song. They knew what to do.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, no, and listening to the rest of the tracks has been cool, which makes me want to revisit the anime and kind of like hear them like played in it. And everything else has kind of been fun. Just remembering all the stuff.
It's not this. It's fun to see it the first time around, but I can imagine being like, oh, I kind of remember this. Oh yeah, this was pretty cool. Getting to see it like right into it is awesome.
Yeah,
It's been fun. So I will say so far very fun. If anyone was not aware from like before, having fun.
I think seriously like Soul Society is really really fun. Like the first arc was fun, like it was good.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It was
but
like it was a good intro arc.
but I think Soul Society like brought me back to like what got me like into Bleach and like
Yes.
what made it exciting at the time.
Yeah. And I feel like it's not, I'm not going to say this is like, I would say this is like a very fast paced arc so far too, but I can only imagine like, it, as I was kind of hinting at before, it's very interesting just like reading like currently publishing manga now and comparing it to Bleach, like just knowing how fast the current Battle Shonen manga scene is compared, like JJK, Chainsaw Man, like seeing how fast paced those are. Like I'm sure people reading Bleach now would also find these fast paced, but I can imagine for like back in the day where like we had those like build up arcs, like you had like 70 chapters of essentially an introduction arc thrown into this. This was probably like seen as like the most fast paced
Yeah,
breakneck action of the time,
I mean
you know?
it was enough. Like I was just remembering this today because like Bleach was like the first anime I showed in my anime club.
Hmm.
And it was around the time while Soul Society was still airing, so it was like around. I think it was like it was right around where Renji and Ichigo fought, like that part of the arc.
Yeah.
And um, my English teacher, who's the moderator, who's like a 60-year-old veteran, got into Bleach from the showings,
Yes.
and then he started collecting the manga, and he was low key just reading it on his own because he just got
That's
freaking hooked
sick.
off of Soul Society.
That's sick. I
Yeah.
should show my dad. He's not a veteran, but like I should just show my dad. Be like, Dad, what do you think of this?
Yeah, like it's
And see
like
what happens.
basically someone you'd like never picture to like be into anime like at all, especially like back then,
Yep.
and he was just like, "Nah, this is sick."
This is sick. Yeah, I did notice this. Radman pointed out. Um, when I was reading chapter 116, it was like 50 pages. Like it was like crazy. It's like the huge chapter, and I was like
Oh,
reading. I'm like, have these all been 50
wait,
pages?
I didn't
And
notice
it's like,
that.
no, I don't think so.
But
It was
that
wild.
I think
Yeah,
that's the chapter that had the really cool cover, actually. Let
yeah,
me see.
that's probably the one. And I was just like, no, I need to read. Need to keep going. Um, I think my favorite, like, I love hearing about like unexpected people getting into anime in like interesting ways, or just getting into series like that. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool and like unexpected, but a testament to how like good the arc was, like very accessible.
Yeah. And it's very cool. I mean, I would know as I brought this up before, and we can clown on this more when we get to it. Like when kid me, like 10-year-old me saw like One Piece was airing, and Naruto was airing, like I'd see them in previews while watching my, Pretty Princess Sailor Moon and Cardcaptor Sakura. Like kid me saw Naruto and Luffy, and I said those two dudes look like ass. Like they just look terrible. I don't like how they look. I'm not watching their shows. They're not pretty princesses, and they don't have good character designs. And I think I was like right before I knew what Bleach was, and I think at that point I was already like too far past. But I will speak for Kid Me. If I saw Bleach, I would not be like Ichigo looks ass. I would probably be like, yeah, we can lock in.
Yeah. Yeah. What were you into at the time again? You were just into like
Card captures. I was in card capture Sakura mode. I saw like a really weird assortment of anime when I was a kid before getting into just like normal Western cartoons. Not normal cartoons, but like Western, like Nickelodeon, SpongeBob, like
yeah.
Cartoon Network, off Toonami stuff. So like I watched Sailor Moon, Cardcaptor Sakura, Tenchi Muyo. I don't know if
I
you got
did.
to see that
Yeah.
one. The OG
On
Love Triangle Harem.
on TV, right? On Cartoon Network.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was my first like frustrating experience with like harem anime, and I was like, what do you mean he doesn't end up with either of them? Like that was peak frustration.
Yeah.
And
And they did like three versions of it originally, which they all aired, which was like
yeah,
confusing at first because we didn't know the concept of like OVAs and
yeah.
that was
Tenchi Tokyo, Tenchi
yeah
Muyo Tokyo, Tenchi Muyo Space or
Tenchi
whatever. I was like
Universe, yeah,
Tenchi
and it
Universe,
was
all that
super
stuff.
confusing because it would reset and you'd be like, "What's an OVA?" And like I couldn't wrap my head
Yes.
around it.
And they were like relatively short. Like they were what, two core series. I'm
Yeah,
gonna rewatch those. Those were kind of crazy. But those were frustrating because I was obviously on the like Ryuko team, and he didn't end up with her for some dumb reason, and he didn't end up with anyone. So that was annoying. But it was like I think the first like harem series where I was like,
fuck
I
this.
get, yeah, I got like frustrated from the get go. I'm like, I don't even know if this is good or not. Like,
Yeah,
just end up with someone.
yeah.
Um, It's a weird. I don't know why I saw that one and not like any of the other big ones. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It was
I
pretty
think
much just what was on Toonami.
yeah, I think that's all they aired. So it was like that was like
Yep.
my first exposure. So like to harem actually, I think it was Tenchi
Yes, I think that's like the OG harem series I saw. We
because the
really got.
only other harem I actively got into that I just didn't watch on TV was Ranma, and then that was kind of
Uh,
that was like my like proper I guess introduction.
yeah, Ranma One Half. I heard they're doing a remake.
Yeah, Ranma one half. Oh really? A remake?
Yeah, they're gonna do a remake. Isn't that crazy?
It's kind of exciting. But
Yeah,
also crazy.
that's exciting.
Hmm. I'm gonna have to think about how I feel about that. Because I
Yeah,
think
that's
like
that's gonna be crazy.
I don't think the anime ever like had like the proper ending for the manga or something.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, anyways,
Anyways, I'm excited. We're having fun. Um, I think the next one, I didn't have anything else. If you didn't, did you have anything else to add?
no, we talked about the OST, which we wanted to mention at least that we've been listening to it. Thankfully, this OST covers pretty much to the end of Soul Society. So if we ever did a watch along, it would still be within like what we're reading, so it wouldn't be like too bad.
Yep.
We talked about the character rankings. We talked about how cool the art is and how it's kind of like Kubo is really evolving, like from the first arc. Like if you look at the first
Mm-hmm.
chapter with Ichigo to now,
Yes.
it's just so
Yeah.
so much cleaner, so much like much sharper, and it just keeps getting
Yeah.
better. So
Yeah. I didn't actually see this one YouTube video, but I saw someone make the case that out of the big three, that um Kubo has had the biggest impact on the younger generation, at least in terms of like content pacing and just like overall artistry. Is like a lot of them point to like Kubo left the biggest impact on them. Um, Even beyond just like Geji from Jujutsu Kaisen, like they were like making connections between like him and like Demon Slayer and like other series. And I feel like it's something that's like you can just kind of really feel the energy and artistry behind his work really well in a very like straightforward way. Like, it's hard to describe, but like you just kind of see it and you immediately get the vision, get what vision he's trying to portray. He conveys like emotions very well and just like overall atmospheres, especially using like what we were talking about with like use of black and the negative space in certain instances, just like
yeah,
very consistently, very well done, and it's just like very much perfectly suited to like a battle shonen series.
Or anime aesthetic channels.
Yeah, or anime aesthetic channels. The real end game for all of these.
Yeah, because I get what you're saying. Like it's a like it he does it so well visually, and visual stuff is like an easy way to just
Yeah.
grasp everything.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't see like people saying like apparently Owls thanks for the his he also like impacted like Undead Unluck,
Oh,
which I
okay.
wouldn't have thought of. It's also something kind of I thought of like you're never gonna see someone consistently say like these are the full lists of my inspirations, but like
Yeah,
it's something that I always kind of thought of with Berserk as well. Is it's like every time you see something from Berserk, whether you're consciously aware of it or not, like you're not going to forget how it looks. Like
yeah,
you can't forget Berserk, and I think this is kind of on that same wavelength. Like you see how cool he portrays something. That's not something you're just going to forget, especially if like I imagine you're a mangaka and you want to portray something cool. You're going to think of the first thing that you felt was cool.
yeah. And I think now too, that now that Bleach has had enough time like away from the spotlight, and people have had time to just look at it away from like their grievances, away from like
Mhm.
the story and kind of how it went, like they can really
And the
appreciate,
tribalism.
yeah, like what was really good about it, and like kind of like there's enough like space separation away from
Mhm.
it that you can like really look
Yes.
at what made it shine. Also, one thing before I forget, I did want to bring up not anything new. I just did like that you mentioned the comparison of Bleach's like pacing to other shonen, and like
Mhm.
I think that's like something cool to always have like as a frame of reference and to explore like
Yeah.
just the differences like of a 2000s like sort of pacing versus now and what they're doing, and like that's just kind of cool
Yeah.
to like
Definitely interesting.
take a look at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe even later we could always compare it to like another arc in a current running series and say like to like actually give an example of like how
Where
one,
they're at.
yeah, like or
Yep.
how it would pace it faster in that regard.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we should next one we can come back with like other chapter 100s and see what else
Yeah,
happened in
yeah,
those. That would be fun.
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
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 All right.
Yeah.
Sounds
So
good.
that sounds good. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you Onimaru for setting everything up.
Of course.
I like our display a lot. Um thanks everyone. We will be back for the next one. And we might have some surprises. We'll
Yeah,
have to
keep it on the
see when
wraps.
we announce them. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Um
Thanks for joining
yeah,
us. You guys are great. I hope you enjoyed. We hope you enjoyed the stream. And we will stay in touch. We'll-
stay in touch.
yeah, we'll stay in touch.
Hags, have a good summer. We'll be back before then,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
got to do the like
definitely.
sign the yearbook with have a great summer.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated. It's pretty much as long as it takes us to pretty much finish the rest of Soul Society, and I
Yeah.
think a little bit after that we'll be ready to go. All
Yeah,
right.
and I'm excited. I mean, we're really in the thick of it, and so I'm excited for more Bleach.
Yeah, me too. All right, guys. Catch you later.